Hello, hello, hello. Oh, EG disappeared. There they are.
Hi.
There they are. There they are. And you got crunched.
Hello.
You got crunched a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. It looks like it's just the source catching up. It looks like it's just the source catching up. Oh,
perhaps.
Hello, hello, hello.
Very tiny now.
Very tiny. The tiny shroom. The tiny shroom. Again, I am be grateful that we are not insisting on. Oh, EG muted. Oh, you were coming through just fine before.
Did my source is my?
No, you're coming through on my side.
What? No. Did my audio source switch itself? It did. What is happening?
Okay, people on my side, like Alpine, you can hear EG, right? Because OBS says the EG is transmitting and actually quite loud.
How about now? How about now?
Okay.
How about now? Am I here now?
Yeah, you're muted on your own side. you muted yourself. This was not the guest.
I didn't. Do you know what it was? So, do you know what it was? It was that thing where my computer switched its default microphone that we discovered earlier when I called you, and it disconnected it in Discord. It did it in here too. It changed the default mic.
Nice.
Yippee!
Nice. All right. Excellent. Something is... wow. I don't know what has happened here, but something special is happening to you on my side.
Oh, I am invincible actually right now is what has happened.
Okay.
I am impervious to all damage.
Okay. Excellent. I was like...
They're just making me oscillate colors. All of my redeems will come through to you.
I mean, I appreciate that. Mine should come to you too as well. You should see my redeems.
Yay.
Oh, Mythic Shogun has not seen me be truly wide. So there is a redeem that makes me considerably wider.
Can we get wider? Can we get wider in proportion to me being shorter? Can we get the ultimate of horrendous proportional alignment here right now?
Yeah, let's see if somebody's willing to somebody's willing to do it. There we go. Yep. There we go. Now I'm proportionally speaking wider. Whom dare served us.
Wait, hang on. I'm finding out how bad the lag is, mayhaps. You have not widened for me yet.
I should have. Oh wait, no, that's because on the. Oh no, it's not on the VTS side. It's on the OBS side, so you won't see it. Dang it, you have to look at my side to see it. Betrayed. Oh no, it's on my side. I'm sorry.
I proportionally edit your source and make it wider forcibly. That's so evil.
You could. I mean, this is I've actually generally enjoyed that it's since it's an OBS side thing. Oh, and I'm sock. Since it's an OBS side thing, that means that like people can't defend themselves inside VTS when they're doing VTS side collabs. Like they are not protected. They are not protected from it. They're not
good enough. I'll take this as a consolation prize.
Yeah, you are protected because you're not inside your separate source. You are not getting shortened.
Haha, hee.
I could do it though. I could do it. This is a source filter. It's a source filter, so I can just change the source filter to. Oh wait, it's going to.
No, don't do it to me too. I'm already short enough as is. We don't need this.
Something happened.
We didn't introduce each other.
We did not introduce ourselves or each other at all. We did not. Yeah. We've been. I've already been socked. I've already been socked and shortened, and your people have no idea who I am. They have no idea.
Yeah, who are you?
Who am I?
Hey, who are you? Do you exist? Are you real?
These are important questions. That is what the stream is about today. That is what we are doing today. Yes. I am Almantas. I am a former professor of sociology, and now I am a VTuber, and I am currently a sock.
Yeah, now you're a sock. Many professions here.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I do lots of calligraphy streams. That's a lot of what I do. I do calligraphy streams, and I play games that have social commentary, and I occasionally do lectures. I've got a lecture in the works for gender in the Bronze Age.
Ooh, intriguing.
Yeah,
gender in the Bronze Age.
That by itself might be intriguing enough for you for a topic, but we're going to be doing a different topic today.
Oh man, I would say I got thoughts about that probably.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. It would be hard not to some extent.
Yeah.
But yes, so yes.
Oh, me, I'm Squeegee. Hi. I'm a freelance artist fungi. I am also an art educator. And right now, I guess I'm here. I'm also short. I don't have another cool occupation though. I'm winter right now. Oh, I'm in the wrong background. We're hanging out on a summer day for some reason on mine. There we go.
Yeah, you're just the sweltering mushroom.
Take you on the frigid, frosty cold. There we go. Nope. No warmth for you. Frigid cold. You're at least dressed appropriately.
Yeah, I'm at least dressed appropriately. I am not dressed appropriately for summer at all. This is having dressed as myself for in real life, having an actual self cosplay, I can assure you it is not comfortable in warm weather.
No, I've been thinking about that low key. I've been like, oh, when I go to Otakon, maybe I might be going to Otakon this summer. I was like, oh, I should do a squeegee cosplay. I have, glasses like my usual model wears. I have, I'm going to, this is not a spoiler, I'm getting merch of earrings that are my earrings that I'm not wearing currently my model either. But I wear a long sleeve sweater and overalls. We are not doing that, and I'm not making anything to mimic my mushroom cap hair. That would be sweat disaster death. Everyone will just have to deal with my haircut.
Yeah. I've known some people who've I am fortunate that I chose to dress my character in a way that is a way that a human would wear clothes.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, that's my normal outfit is very easy to closet cosplay, but that's because it is just an outfit I wear.
Yeah. Whereas I know people who it's not even physically possible.
Yes.
To dress as themselves,
sure. Yes,
because they do the Honkai Star Rail stuff. They've got they've got floating rings that are touching their shoulder at for 1 inch. It's you can't do that.
Yes.
This is not real.
It is not. No.
Seeing the changes to EG's model without seeing the redeems is quite a trip. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Can you take a guess? Take a wild guess what all is happening right now. I think there's 5 things stacked at the moment.
Oh yeah, your chat's going. Your chat's really spamming them. Your chat.
They love starting a stream like this, yes, which I do appreciate.
I mean, I always enter your stream by rotating you.
That's true. I know that is people say hello in different ways. I do note a single rotation, usually you. If I get rotated 7 times, it's usually Spicy Noobles. There's a couple people who I can very easily identify who they are by what is happening to me. If I'm short, Riraku's here. I know this to be fact.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, for cosplayers, that's just a challenge. So I was at Magfest, which.
Yeah.
And so that's where I cosplayed as myself, and I brought the sock puppet.
Oh, there you go.
The actual the sock puppet is real. And the Doug Dimmadome guy was there. The Doug Dimmadome guy was
Doug Dimmadome.
Yeah.
Doug Dimmadome over the Dimmerdale. What? How does that go? That's another one of those tongue twisters.
Yeah, I can't remember because I didn't actually watch the show. I just know the memes. But yeah, the Doug Dimmadome cosplayer was there. For people who are not familiar with this guy's actually kind of famous. Doug Dimmadome is Fairly Odd Parents character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he so the cosplayer, there's this guy who cosplays that guy, and he wears a cowboy hat that's a 10-gallon hat that goes up 12 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Like 12, 15 feet. It's yeah, Alex, thank you. Alex
Alex has it. Yeah,
Alex
thank
would
you.
know. Alex would know.
I was trying to think of the town. Doug Dimmadome or the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Yeah. He's
Astronomist Mage has it too.
Yeah, that was that's always a treat to see that guy. That's always such a joy. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
But the cosplays that were really impressive were some guys were playing Primaris Marines. From
Marines.
Yeah, well from 40K. So do you know? So Primaris Marines are 9 feet tall.
Oh, so were they because I'm always impressed when I see, what do you call them? There's the furries who do the stilts for their outfits.
Yeah, they were doing that.
I'm always super impressed by those.
They were doing that. Okay. It was they couldn't move. They had to set it up in advance. It was they were stationary while they were doing it.
Yeah.
But it was
that's wild.
It was really impressive and there's just something materially impressive about doing a cosplay that clearly they sculpted it and put in all the work, and it clearly weighs 200 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is something to be said for that, for sure. They're so good. Yeah, the guys made pseudo exoskeletons. Yeah.
Yeah. If one was an Ultramarine, yeah, that I saw him. Yeah, I was just damn, that's really impressive. Yeah, yeah. That was okay. I didn't see any tech freeze. There were some pretty good fursuits. Those are so expensive though. Holy crap! Having learned, oh my god, those are That's a such like an interesting little like sub industry of the world. Like
Yeah. One of my like favorite debates that I had in my master's program was there's a lot of weird opinions about what is and isn't art, which does relate to some of the topics I was going to talk about today.
Yeah, it does. It does.
People love to think that like things like there's this different line between what people consider craft versus fine art, and they say craft with this like evil in their heart.
Yes.
But the craft is a word historically used to put women down, unfortunately.
Yep.
So things that are considered unserious were called crafts, which is totally useless as a word.
Yeah.
I think we should stop doing that. But everyone was like, I brought up, because a lot of my students were furries, I was like, oh, well, fursuits are definitely an art. There is an art to them. There's so much technical intent that goes into them. They are subservient to all the same rules and elements and principles as any other art is. And they're a labor of love. And every single person in my master's program was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, nothing.
Minty Dragonfire, thank you for the follow. And it's also that does remind me that there is a there was a political movement in the 19th century in the United Kingdom called the Arts and Crafts movement.
Yes.
It was like a socialist and somewhat feminist movement around, mostly around trying to get away from like mass-produced goods and trying to de-alienate labor in a direct fashion. But it's yeah, but yeah, there's definitely that element. You're right that like there's this like like men are artists. Hello, Sidari. Of course, Sidari knows. Of course, Sidari knows. You know, arts and there's there's this element of like you're right of misogyny to it. To talking about like men are artists and women are merely craftspeople, which is really strange given the like valences we tend to have in common parlance. Because I am for folks who I do calligraphy, but I am above all else a words guy. I am not a like visual arts person. Like me and EG like we have a lot of common background. We actually like have a lot of shared background in our educations, but like we diverge very significantly on this point.
Yes.
And where like I am like so visually ignorant. I'm so visually ignorant, and I write so much. I write so fucking much. I get published like 5-6 times a year. I write so damn much.
Wow. Dang, that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I get published quite a bit, and I find writing lots to be easy, and the talking so seriously being a sock puppet.
Well, not any longer.
Yeah, Alex kind of hits it. Like we've gotten used to this concept, the term craftsman when we're talking about like stonemasons and blacksmiths and like these like woodworkers, these very masculine things. But then, like, when we say, like, oh, this person's doing crafts, we're talking about, like, macrame and knitting and...
I go, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Macrame?
Macrame. I don't know how to pronounce it. Macrame?
Macrame?
Macrame? Macrame?
I mean,
Macrame?
maybe I'm wrong. I've always heard it said as macrame. I tried to take a second and be like, wait, what?
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I said I'm a words guy. By which I mean I live in books. Like I live in books.
That's fair. I learned many a word that I never hear spoken aloud, and then I say it out loud, only to my great horror and terror, as it is fully improper and incorrect and strange.
Yeah. I said antipode for years. Before somebody was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's antipode. I was like, that's fucked up. That's weird. That's an insane way to say things. And now I've become like as an adult, I'm now confident enough to like be like, I'm going to start pronouncing antipope like it's antipode. So antipode. Yeah.
Say things wrong on purpose because it's funny that way.
It's funny. It's absolutely funny. It's absolutely funny. And if I teach my nieces and nephews how to say words wrong, that's just Calvin dad moment.
Honestly, that's pretty good. That gives them a funny story they can tell later down the line when they learn that hors d'oeuvres is pronounced not as horse divorce. That was me. My cousin taught me to say that word, and I called it that all the way up until I was a high schooler, and no one corrected me for some reason.
Oh my goodness!
They just let me do that.
Oh my goodness! What was the? I used to say mispronunciation.
Mispronunciation. That's good.
Mispronunciation. I think that's just how we should say it, to be honest. Like, come on, man.
I feel like it'd be fitting, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So on this like difference between like visual versus like writing arts, I have gotten very used to the idea of referring to writing as both an art and a craft. That there is there's kind of referring to different skills within it. That
how do you delineate?
Well, it's kind of like the difference between like strategy and tactics. That like the craftsmanship is like what you're doing at like the sentence to sentence, paragraph to paragraph level. They're like anything can be crafted well, even if it's artistically worthless. You can do good craftsmanship with anything, and of course, like you can make something that is conceptually interesting, which might make it still artistically interesting, but still have terrible craftsmanship, where like the sentences are all clunkers, it's boring on a moment-to-moment basis. It's more interesting to talk about or describe than it is to experience. That would be like good art, poor craftsmanship. And I guess there's kind of an argument that like you can't have good craftsmanship without good art, but you can't have good art without good craftsmanship. I
was just about to say that. Yeah, that's usually what we say. We use the word technique usually instead of craftsmanship, which I guess those are probably just.
We also say technique a lot, but it's no small part. It was Le Guin was a person was her writing advice book is Steering the Craft, where she's kind of alternating between like craft as in like craftsmanship and craft as in like a boat, in her metaphor. Like a sea craft, and it's a really good writing advice book. So it's and she's an extremely famous writer, so it's kind of like percolated through the community.
Percolated. There's a fish in the percolator.
I like that. I like that word. It's one of my mom's favorites.
It's a good word.
Percolated.
I'm glad I get to use it often now. I just watched Twin Peaks for the first time.
Yeah.
There's a fish in the percolator. You never even believe it.
But yeah, so we're talking about language use, and that's actually surprisingly relevant to the actual topic.
Tangent.
Yeah, it's a good tangent. It's surprisingly relevant to the core topic.
Yeah.
So if I may get us started here.
Yeah, go for it. You may.
And by me getting us started, I mean lobbing this right at your face. You came to me several weeks ago with I'm having an ontological crisis. Can you help me talk about ontology? You're on ad break. Crap. This is one of those things. Oh crap! This is one of those things I meant to discuss with you before we got started. Was like I can go on to. I'm usually on pre-roll, but I could go on to mid-roll while we're together, so we time our ad breaks.
I mean, that's fair. I didn't realize that it doesn't time them together.
No.
That seems like the dumbest thing for if we're gonna combine our
hold on. We're going to manually do this. We're going to do this manually.
Okay, manual. Switching to manual.
I'm breaking into my ads manager is on 3 minutes per hour. You're on 90 seconds every 30 minutes.
Whatever the bare minimum it is that makes me not have pre-roll, yes.
But like, how often are they? They're every 90 minutes? It looks like it's 1.5 minute ad breaks.
I don't remember. I don't touch this very often.
Okay.
Probably, I think so. That sounds right.
Okay, mine's going to start. I'm going to run it right now. It does say that yours are 90 seconds. So that would mean every 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Works out.
Yeah.
Twitch's making odd decisions for us. Hang on, we'll try that. We are.
So we will actually just talk about the most boring side of this, which is Kara. It's good to see that Kara and Arosa are already our. And I'm actually Arosa. I didn't know that you watched me because I watch your stuff sometimes. I didn't know that you were
meeting of the worlds.
Yeah. I was like, but no. Me and EG have we've collabed together before. Last year we did a talk about our archaeology and Outer Wilds, and you made a phenomenal fan art of me. It's so good. It's so good. Let me see if I can pull it up in a quick fashion. I'm going to add a source image.
You just drag and drop it if you have it saved somewhere. It should just put it right in.
I think it'll actually just be faster for me to find it this way than to go through Explorer directly is the thing. Because you know how slow Explorer is.
Go for it. Is it? It is?
On Windows 11, it's so slow. It
I
hangs.
refuse to use Windows 11.
It's bad. It's bad. It's
just
bad.
terrible.
I don't recommend. I am really looking forward to being able to fix my Linux machine and go back to Linux.
I can't even upgrade to Windows 11. My motherboard won't do it. So I'm like, that's fine. Support will end, and I don't know what I'll do at that point. Probably have security nightmares, but
it's okay. Windows 11 is a
replacing my
security nightmare
keyboard.
intrinsically.
Oh, great! Fantastic!
Yeah. So EG made this this fan art of me.
I'm trying to pull it. You were faster, but mostly because I forgot what I was doing. Where was I doing this? Hang on. Here. Nope. I forget what the heck folder I had it saved in. Here. There we go. Yoink. I'll put the transparent one in here. Bonk.
Yeah.
Here's Almantas. I drew Almantas as a Nomai from Outer Wilds. Look at that resemblance.
I love it. I love it, to be honest. Like I find the Nomai so charming.
Yeah, they're so endearing.
They're so endearing. Like, even the ones who are mean, like, even the ones who like hate each other are like, oh, they're just so curious. They're just so curious. And I feel like curiosity is like such an important, like,
trait to have.
Well, and just like, it's so important for just like survival and for like living a decent life. Like, it's I think it's so intrinsic to us as humans. I think it's like when I think about what we are, what it is to live in the world, I think curiosity is really important. I agree. But Windows 11 is a security nightmare intrinsically. It's dreadful. It's dreadful. Okay, my ads have abated now, so now we're both out of ad jail. I'll pay attention when your ads are starting, and then I'll hit. Oh, my ad manager runs 3 minutes of ads. That's why it was longer. I was like, why the hell?
It did it all at once.
Well, that's how I always have it. That's how I had it set up beforehand. I don't need to view the tutorial.
I see.
I'm popping out my ad. Anyway, so EG came to me a while ago and said, I am having a crisis of ontology. Like, what is real? I
think my direct message to you was, I said, you look like someone who has thoughts about, you seem like someone who would have thoughts about ontology. Help.
Yes, and the answer is I actually don't. The answer is I actually don't.
Close, but no.
The answer is I actually know relatively little about ontology, and I shot back with, but I do know quite a bit of, I do know quite a bit about epistemology, and I think about it a lot.
Kind
of
like siblings.
They're siblings. They're siblings, and there's a. I actually have a friend who me and him just have a fundamental disagreement on this. That he views epistemology as a subcomponent of ontology, and I kind of think it's much more important to have an understanding of epistemology before you can really approach ontology.
I wouldn't consider them anything like that. I would consider them siblings.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's
like the chem and physics debate. You can't have chem without physics. You can't have physics without chem.
Yeah.
They're siblings. Neither one is more important than the other. They need each other.
And Kaneko Bunny and Ishmashel, thank you for the follows. And
I will also thank you, Mythic Shogun. For resubscribing. Sub anniversary. Welcome back. I'm glad you enjoy your rotation. They're talking about, I think, opinions on games borrowing cultures. Hang on, we can get to that, but I need to not tangent. I will lose myself.
That's I do have specific opinions about specifically from ancient Egypt, but we can talk about that later. Mythic Shogun and hold on, I always try to get people's names as accurate as possible. Coco Fo Now. There we go. Coco Fo Now. There we go. As literally pronounce every letter in their name as possible, including underscores sometimes, which is always funny.
Oh, I love reading. People will come in with names that have like 12 numbers in them, and I'm like, hello, Fox 74102219121.
Yeah, I do it every time. Yeah, I do it every single time. I do it every single time. I think me and EG would be friends even if we didn't, even if we weren't VTubers. I think we just we're just similar people here. This is great. But so you were having an ontology crisis.
I was losing track of what things exist and what things are given importance or not. I mean, this is kind of not just ontology, but at what point do things stop being things just because we deem they're not important. Like, we tend to give names to concepts. This is a niche thing. Nietzsche thing. Why am I not saying his name properly? Nietzsche. Why am I trying to do that? It's just like a Nietzsche thing.
Nietzsche, yes.
A niche is an environmental thing. Or like filling a niche. But that's kind of like one of his whole things too, which is that we do assign concept to things for understanding, which kind of ties this into epistemology. But essentially, why are certain concepts important enough for us to give them titles versus others not? It's usually about relevancy to us and our usefulness, but just because they're not useful to us doesn't mean they don't exist. And I started like spiraling about like relationships between objects and things like that. And at what point does an object stop being the object? Like, what is the physical barrier, which gets into chem, which I also have a degree in, and I was losing it.
Yeah.
It was a slippery slope, and I was becoming less of a person as a result. And I was like, we have to stop this.
Yes. There's an insight that I've enjoyed for quite some time from specifically, it was interestingly from Zach Weinersmith, the cartoonist.
Cartoonists have a lot of good things.
Yeah. He had this insight that it's really easy to arrive at philosophical skepticism. There's like a million different ways that you can arrive at like hard skepticism, and I want to be clear for
Rome.
yeah, I want to be clear for the audience here. When I say like hard philosophical skepticism, I don't mean like having a skeptical attitude and interrogating the things that you see around you. I mean like just never believing anything you witness. Yeah, Humter's got it. It's like it's actually really easy to arrive back at solipsism. And it's extremely useless. And there's a million different ways you can do it, because you can be like, oh, like you've presented me with 57 peer-reviewed articles, but you need a minimum of 59 in order to overcome my biases.
Take that, Kant.
Or you can be like, oh yeah, I mean, like, I know you said it, but like, how do I know that you're not an outlier? It's like, it's so obnoxious. You can be so obnoxious with philosophical skepticism.
Absolutely.
But it's all deeply impractical. And one of the people that I recommended reading for this one was Hume, and he has a specific saying about this, which is like, eventually you have to, like, this is all fun to talk about when you're in the boardroom, but when you're crossing the street, it's actually better to just like assume that carriage is in fact real.
Yeah, for the sake of my own safety, it is much better if I just assume everything is real.
Yeah.
Assume all things are real.
Well, I mean, but you can't live like that, right? You can't live like that. No. That's also like, that's how you get conspiracy theories. That's how you get like really dumb conspiracy theories too. Not even like fun ones. You get like really dumb ones.
Yeah.
It's yeah, so the cult is real.
No. Just because Amber's not here with the gun does not mean you can misbehave.
The lack of cult is real. There we go. That's how we square this circle.
There you go. Square it.
Yeah. So yes, you came to me with this existential crisis, and you had best been getting like too deep down the philosophy rabbit hole, which is a thing that people do.
It's not useful, and since then I have figured out how to stop doing that, because I'd be lying in bed awake at night like, oh my god, what does this mean for actually anything?
Yeah. And I'm going to
0 out of 10.
Yeah, and it should be kind of if we haven't made the point clear enough here, this is actually a really practical question. Like it's actually, because the question that we're asking is very fundamentally, how do we know things?
How do we know things?
How do we know that we know things? That's the gist of it. How do we know that we know things? And that's actually an immensely practical question, because we have to make decisions based on how do we know that we know things all the time. A really straightforward example of this is, if you are a physicist, there's an extremely important question that is even more important than is your math right, that is even more important than did I do my experiment correctly, and that is, where is my funding coming from?
Yeah. Do I have a base to rely on here?
And you know, chances are that up until about 3 weeks ago, your funding came from a federal grant. And now it doesn't, and now you have to And now every single physicist has to be making decisions now that are different than the ones they made even 6 months ago about about their understanding of the reliability of their funding sources.
Mm-hmm. It's a strange world we live in right now, because I feel like this is a good topic that is important for the sake of current events and times about how do we know things to be true. I feel like we've lost a lot of the critical skills that are required, which is why this is an important topic. I'm not going to go down the fake news rabbit hole here in any way, shape, or form. I think that's too...
That's too narrow. That's too narrow.
Narrow. But I think that these are concepts that are very relevant to discuss in the modern era, where somehow my parents come to me with a TikTok and are like, can you believe this? And I'm like, no, because that is AI-generated octopus.
Yeah, that is...
No,
that is
I
not,
can't,
that is
actually.
not... yeah, that is very unlikely. And so, yeah, we're faced with this big question, right? And you don't get to get away from it, right? Like, you don't actually get to get away from it. Well, and Just Some Goblins proposed has I don't know if they did this on purpose, but they might have intentionally been leading us to the starting discussion point, the original discussion point, the point that you made art about. Quote, I say observation would be a sound and concise answer.
I also say so, because
However,
that's what we use in art.
That's what you use in art.
Yeah, okay.
But
However,
Descartes would disagree.
yes, he would.
Yes, Descartes would
We're
disagree.
very Cartesian in art.
Yeah, you're very Cartesian in art, and Descartes would not agree that observation is the source of knowledge. He would not say that observation is something that you can rely on.
No.
He does not think that's a sound or concise answer. He thinks that is a dodge. He thinks that's an evasion.
What about dreams? Have we considered dreams in the spectrum here, says Descartes.
Yeah, have we considered dreams? Have we considered lying? Right? Like,
that's true. Have we considered the evil demon who lives behind me? It looks at Almantas. You're not the evil demon, but
I am shielding you from the evil demon based on the way that we've both composed, based on the way we've composed our shots on both sides.
Thank you, shielding me from the evils.
Yeah, shielding you from the evils. Yeah. And also Gaia Govenia VT, thank you for the follow. We are faced with this, right? We are faced with this on a regular basis, because it's one of those things that I like to talk about constantly. I talk about this constantly, that it turns out that lying is just a really effective strategy. Like, it turns out you can actually, like as a society, as humans.
Yes.
I am not myself a particularly effective liar. I am a person who's gullible, so I have to be aware that other people are more effective liars than me. That,
man, just like me for real.
Yeah.
I get made fun of because I'm so ungodly bad at lying. Call the neurodivergence, maybe. I'm A, incapable of doing it half the time. B, so badly obvious that I'm trying to do it. And then I cannot maintain lies for other people either, so you just don't tell me things.
Yeah, I've definitely have told people, like, please don't tell me these things, or
don't give me surprise news, because if somebody mentions it somewhere, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna be like, trying everything I can to not be like, that's not true, or that is happening. No, we're just gonna say nothing, but I'm gonna look really guilty as a result.
Yeah, yeah, Director Nemo, by the way, also has a sociology background. So he's not coming from nowhere by saying that lying is
mega OP.
It really is. It's really and like it's something that, like, I talk about when, like, talking like sci-fi world building, and for example, is like if you have detection systems, there's going to be stealth systems, because every detector has a method of defeat. If you know how to make a detector, which includes, like, reading a person's face to tell, like, if somebody knows how the detector works, they know how to deceive it. There's a very famous one from Chinese military history, from the 31 stratagems, where, how do you know how big an army is? There's a very good method for knowing how big an army is, which is how many campfires can you see?
Okay, yeah.
Because like you need one campfire for every between like 4 to 10 people for them to cook food. So if you see like such and such a number of campfires, you know that the army is like within an order of magnitude size. And so there's this one famous military story where a general had his men light like way more fires than he had troops for, and this caused the opposing army to delay on attacking him until his own reinforcements showed up.
Oh, see, that was good. That was smart. That makes me think of, was it a World War II strategy where people were inflating fake planes on runways to throw off intelligence?
Yep. Yeah,
I don't remember that one fully.
Yeah, fake planes. Utilized sonar based on the number next to the little guy on the map. Well, I mean, this is one of those reasons why I feel like a lot of video games give you like video games remove a lot of verbs from actual military history by being too gamey. They give you less options than reality would give you. But it's but yeah, like any detection is going to have a corresponding form of deception, and so Descartes would say that you cannot rely on your observation.
No. Which is not good. Not good for me. Not good for the arts. That's bad. That's bad for the arts, actually.
it's very bad, and it's
But he's not fully wrong, at least, either, which is also.
Well, it does.
Very part.
Well, it also I think it would also depend on where you want to go with your art, because he does propose a form of recoverable knowledge, right? Like Descartes is not proposing like, oh, you just like can't know anything. That is not at all what he is saying. He is saying that you can know things via logic. That logic is like inassailable by your observations.
Yeah, this is his. What is the wax theorem? What is that thing called? The wax theorem, where because we have the power of intelligence and knowledge, we can just because we can visually observe the fact that a candle is wax and then it's melted does not mean that without. I'm not phrasing this correctly. If we did not have intellect, we would not be able to connect the dots between candle that is physical in a solid form and is wax is the same thing as it is in its fully melted and liquefied form. We need intelligence to understand that those two things are one and the same in different states, that they are transmutations of each other. And that is why we can't rely just on observation. We have to do a lot of dot connecting ourselves in our minds, which we're into just the intellect end of the defense as to why there is more to it than just observation, and it can't just be observation. I guess. I say.
Yeah.
I have a surface understanding of many of these things.
I have approximate knowledge of many things.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what I want. Exactly. I have approximate knowledge of that quote as well.
Yeah. Well, Descartes is proposing that there's no possible way to deceive logic, right? Which is, it must be said, a contestable point. That is contestable. That is a contestable point. There might not be ways to deceive logic itself, but you can absolutely get people to accept shoddy logical arguments.
Yes, you can.
And if you hang out with a math department, you will encounter people who have like actual good understandings of logic, and it's actually upsetting. It's actually really upsetting. It sucks.
Have you had to take logic and math before? I had to take it when I was in college.
Yeah, I did. I took it I took it a long time ago. It's a lot.
It is a lot, but it was very enlightening. It felt eye-opening. It's one of those things where you don't know how much things people complain. They're like, what do you need weird math for in life? I needed weird logic so that I can know when I'm being misled or when things don't add up or when there's circular arguments or things like that happening. It helped my writing a lot, honestly, to do that, especially like argumentative writing.
Weirdly, calculus helped me a lot as with like history writing. Like it was like very strange how that worked out.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
And it's it's honestly kind of. It's actually really upsetting, like that. The part that is awful with understanding logic, like when you start understanding the higher level stuff, is that 1 + 1 = 2 is actually really hard to prove.
Yes.
It's awful. It's an awful piece of knowledge to have. Like it just sucks. It just sucks to know this.
Have you seen the mathematic paradox of the piece of chocolate?
No, tell me.
There's a mathematical paradox which was very popular on Tumblr once upon a time, which should tell you a little bit about it. But essentially, if you cut a chocolate bar a specific way, visually, theoretically, you can remove a chunk of it. I should get the GIF. I should pull up the GIF somewhere so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Tumblr chocolate bar, where theoretically, visually, this is one of those things where observation does not equal truth. We're observing them doing it. And it looks real, but mathematicians can prove to you why our eyes are lying to us in this. Let me find it.
Okay. While they're looking that up.
Sorry, my typing is so loud.
It's fine.
Oh, just googling Tumblr chocolate bar did not work.
I am not surprised. Yeah, I was a non-Tumblr user. So, yeah.
I can't say raised. I was not a child. But I'm deeply steeped in Tumblr knowledge. Here, I've sent it to you. I will stick it in the chat so people can look at it there, because I don't know how to get a GIF to work visibly on my stream. See if I can do it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yep. I see what they're doing here. Yeah, this is cute.
Yeah. So we can see a visual example of it.
Yep.
We can see that visually it makes sense. Our observation of those chocolate bars is that a square is being removed, and because of those diagonal cuts, we're able to slide things along the side without anything changing in size, and somehow we're ending up with the same size of chocolate bar. This is my visual analysis for people who can't see it. How does that work? Well, the answer is it doesn't. The answer is that we're being fooled by our eyes, essentially. There's actually more at play here than we can see. That angle is not what it looks like.
Yep.
And it's being misinterpreted as a result. There's a really interesting math breakdown as to how it actually works that somebody did, I saw on TikTok, I think.
This is cool. This is very cool.
It's good to just stare at it forever, but in defense of Descartes, I present you chocolate bar.
Yeah,
he's right.
Chocolate. Yeah. Yeah, well, and I mean, this gets to a point that I like to make about art all the time, which is that art is by default deep. It is actually hard for somebody to actually create completely shallow, stupid art. It requires real work to like sand off things, because this person made a shit post about chocolate, and it actually hits on something very deep about our ability to trust our senses and our relationship with the knowledge that we have and an observation that is about as deep as things can get. And this is something that somebody just did as a joke about it. And I think by default, if you're creating art, you will create deep art, because it's just hard to keep up doing things incredibly shallowly without hitting on deep things. Deep things are deeply rooted in the world.
Deep things are. I will raise you as somebody who teaches art the unfortunate circumstance of corner cutting, which is that there is so much art that is created that is just for the sake of getting it done. It's not created for the sake of creating art, unfortunately, and that loses all of it, unfortunately. So if you are making art to get it done, to make the art, that's not the point. You got to make art to do something. You should have an intent in it. And if you have any intent, if your intent is to make a meme, which is what that intent was, that is where it is hard to have something that is just shallow. Very easy to have a lot more depth than even you realize to something if you are putting an inch into something.
So what Professor E.G. is telling you, art students, is that if you are making your art and all you're trying to do is like get through the assignment so that you can get to the end of the class and get your grade, at least make it about that.
Yes.
At least make it about that.
I love seeing art. My students, when they would make work that is essentially the work itself is a complaint about the assignment, I love that. I think it's so funny. They would make stuff that was very meta about the assignment specifically, or people would think outside the box and like make something that made fun of my terms for the assignment. I love that. That's fantastic, because you still had an intent in doing it. You had a game plan. You were being influenced by your surroundings and your thoughts and your feelings and your interaction with the world, and you brought it into the art, which adds depth.
I am going to start
my ad at all about it,
as soon as yours ends so that people can swap between our two channels and evade the ad breaks.
Wow! Oh, there you go. Big brain.
We're doing the metas.
Toggling.
We're doing the metas here. Yeah, the toggle meta.
There you go. Often the toggle meta for me is they switch between YouTube and Twitch, but look at that. Even easier. You don't have to leave the site now. Look at that.
Yeah. So Ryan the Space God is actually asking a kind of interesting question about art that it stops us from getting to Hume, who is the next person we would bring in here. Is art just a reflection of culture, or is it more? I think... you're talking to a person who's more of a sociologist than an artist. I don't think that art, even then, I don't think that art is just a reflection of the culture it's from. I think art is extremely heavily influenced by the culture it comes from. I think art has a lot to do with, like any given piece of art has to do with what the culture's concerns are, and like, hey, it's Babinka Bear. We love Babinka Bear. And these are not, like, separable, really, and you also can't do the opposite, right? Like, I don't think that art is purely just a reflection of the culture it's from, but you also can't make art that is completely ungrounded in the culture it comes from.
Correct. That's my favorite saying, is that all art is political art. There's no such thing as art that is not political art, because you made it, and there's no such thing as existence that isn't political at this point.
Yeah.
Therefore, by you making it, the art has to be. You hand that property off onto it. But I agree with you. Art is, in a lot of ways, the product of its culture, but it is also the product of all the things that led up to this point. It is a product of history in many ways, where we are constantly looking back, whether we realize it or not. And art is so global at this point that it's hard to define individual movements often.
Yeah.
So for the fact that, like, yes, we are being influenced by our time and our place, we are being influenced by all of time. And also, didn't used to be the case, but now we're also being influenced by all of place. The whole world impacts the way that we make our art. We have much less secluded existences now. So we draw much broader influences, which makes it harder to pin down influences, which makes it harder to kind of collate something into, like, one defined movement. But honestly, it's kind of for the better. Yeah. I think it's an interesting way of getting broader permutations of similar ideas.
Well, and to wit on the question of movements, I guess, I also think that part of the reason why movements have kind of been less of a thing is that the relationship between, like, mentors and mentees is different than it was for, like, the 19th and most of the 20th century. And like, I see this more from, like, a sciences and social sciences perspective, but, like, schools of thought have also broken down there just because you don't have as much of a thing where, like, Professor so-and-so stays at this university for 20 years and dedicates the, like, 30 years of his life to training people in his methodology, his way of thought.
Yeah, develops a following, essentially, in that methodology.
Yeah, like that doesn't really happen anymore because, like, so many things about the way that research is done have changed, the way that funding is gathered has changed. And so, you know, the mentees are cut loose much more readily and are much more on their own than they were in the past.
There's also, for something to be said for modern senses of yearning for independence or for, like, wanting to be unique in something, where historically, a lot of the time, you know, research and topics of that sort were treated as sort of a for the greater good of everyone, you know, many parts of a whole type of a belief. But I would say just the way that the United States is and has been, our rugged individualism, as it may have been, has seeped into all of those angles where everyone wants to make a name for themselves. They don't want to just follow someone else in it, for better or worse. So,
well, and there's
definitely changed that a lot.
And to steal from another comic artist, Randall Munroe. Randall Munroe broke down scientific research into 3 categories. There are 3 types of scientific research, which is we used an established methodology to look at novel data. We used a novel methodology to look at standard data. And here's a catalog of every tree.
Yep, every single one.
That's all. We made a map of all of the trees in America. Like those are the 3 types of research. We took an existing methodology and we used it in a new place, or we developed a new methodology and we used it on stuff that we've already looked at before just to see what happens, or catalog.
Catalog.
And I don't think catalog is much of a thing in the arts, but my kind of understanding from having known a couple of artists, not nearly as well as I think you have. I do have a couple of artists in my life, but not, I think, as deeply as you do. It does seem like every single artist has a lot of impetus in their career to establish a unique voice.
Yes. That is something that I think is almost given too much of an importance, where we see it trickling down into younger generations now as the constant yearning to find your style, find what your art style is. And that is to say that people also try and claim that they own an art style or a way of working, which are very new things to be occurring in, like, just, like, art culture. And I think there's too much focus given to something like that, where, you know, we can all find a way to have our own unique voice, but there's a nuance that you have just as a person that will add something new to any conversation, as long as you are not intentionally copying someone. So I think we have, as a society, overinflated the need to make things unique and clearly cut that I am different. But it exists because of sensationalism, where, you know, if you're going to become a popular fine artist these days, you have to do something that the curators have never seen before, that totally wows them or shocks them.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's not easy to do when you're competing against the world. It's
not easy to do when you're competing against the world. It's an interesting thing when you're, like, distant from a given art form. Like if you're really in depth with a given art form, you can look at people and, like, see the differences that are very subtle that would distinguish somebody's style and distinguish somebody's way of doing things. But if you're not very familiar with it, and, like, every single and, like, there are no established schools, it all just kind of looks like porridge. Right? Yeah. It's like you kind of do know that every grain of rice in your bowl of rice is actually a different grain of rice, but, like, unless you're really invested in the differences between individual grains of rice, it all just looks like rice. Like, this is definitely a thing that happens when I'm looking at an art form that I'm not super familiar with. You know, I have a bit of a sound processing disorder, so, like, music is particularly vulnerable. Like, music is particularly vulnerable to this, where I'm like, oh, all this, like, this entire genre just sounds like the same song over and over again.
What even is a genre? Help!
And having come from the metal side of things, oh my god, those guys argue about it so much. They love arguing about genres so much.
I try so hard not to touch it, but, like, it's like, what is new metal? What is metalcore? There's like 400 different terms for things. I don't know where any of those lines lay. Therefore, I refuse to use any of them. I will just tell people the band I like. Sometimes that's not good enough either.
Oh my god. Yeah, sometimes it, like... Yeah, I like In Flames, but In Flames has, like, two entirely different eras that are extremely like, not similar. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to point number 2 on our very broad overview of how do we know things. So Descartes says, how do we know things? Descartes says that we know things because there's a chain of logic. Right, we can establish a chain of logic. Even if we have no experiences, we can look inside our minds and we can establish how logic operates, and blah, blah, blah. And then he does a very, a thing that I always found really unimpressive, and he thought was really important, but I think a lot of other people have been unimpressed with over the years of, because this logic works, that means that God is real and God wouldn't deceive us, therefore the external world exists.
Therefore God will not lie to us, he is kind. I believe him, I trust him.
Yeah, God is both kind and truthful. Which is a contentious point in and of itself already. Like,
yes, even if you talk, even in religious spheres, that can be a contentious point already.
And so, I'm not even sure it works inside the Bible. I feel like the Book of Job falls apart on contact with with Descartes. Descartes makes a lot of people mad, Ryan the Space God. I just a total aside here. I'm vegan. I've been vegan for like 15 years. Descartes was like a huge anti-animal rights guy. Like, there was an animal rights movement at the time, and he was Descartes was very big, was like the proponent of the idea that animals don't actually experience pain. When like a dog.
He didn't fully believe in sentience for them, I believe.
No, only humans. Only humans have sapience. Only humans are sentient. So, like, if a dog is exhibiting pain behavior, as my philosophy professor liked to say it, that's actually just mechanical operations.
Yeah.
Like, there's no actual pain happening there. That's just these are just automatons that happen to be meat-shaped.
That is very Catholic of him, because it was only recently even that the Catholic Church has decided, animals can have souls and are real and are allowed to do things like go to heaven, which, like, that was like, that's a Pope Francis change, I believe. That's a within the last 4 years change. That's insanity. And, like, that's even, like, that change was made and it was not recognized. All of the, like, factions are like, we don't know about that one, man.
Well, I mean, it's because there's, like, a big difference. Well, there's also, like, a big gap between, like, like animals don't have immortal souls. Like, that's actually, like, kind of important, like, to a lot of Catholics. It's like, animals don't have immortal souls. That's kind of really important. I grew up Catholic, so I'm steeped in this. And then, like, there's a big gap between that and, like, animals don't feel pain. Like there's no necessity that something feels like the only things that have immortal souls can feel pain. That is not a not a Catholics do not, that was not a Catholic belief as far as I know. But no, Descartes was very much doing like the dominion, like humans have total dominion over nature kind of thing. Because he was a modernist, right? That's a modern Enlightenment thought, and he was like one of the big builders of that. But yeah, like it has given me the impression of Descartes as a bit of a blood drunk psycho, which Did I run my ads? I didn't actually. I don't think I actually ran my ads. I'm gonna hit that now. So folks, go watch me over on EG. I should have said that before I hit the ad button.
That's okay. If you say your chat has alerted them that things are, whoa, ads be upon ye.
Yeah. And I actually like this tech. This is like we've got like a little mini game. We got a little mini game inside of that we've. I like this. I'm now into this. I am now into this. This is selling me again on mid-rolls. I've been off mid-rolls for a while, but for collabs I like this. But yeah, so our next big guy is Hume.
Next big guy, Hume,
who is actually a big guy. Hume's huge. Hume's Scottish. Hume is Scottish, and he was friends with a friend of the show, Adam Smith, friend of economists everywhere, and Hume goes the exact opposite direction. Hume goes the exact opposite direction. Hume goes, the only things that we can know are our external inputs. The only things that we know about the world are what we can see and touch, and our ability to even do like relationships between those are illusions. Those are not real. The one that I always liked was this thing about colors. Did you read that thing?
I'm least familiar with Hume. In my attempts at things, I spent far too long being like, oh god, Kant, what is your deal?
Kant is so frustrating. Kant is an extraordinarily frustrating writer.
And then I was like, oh wait, hang on, there were more fellas here for me to refresh. What is his thing on colors? I probably know it, but I don't know it.
It'll be less coherent to us in the world of digital colors. It probably made a lot more sense in a world where you had to rely on pigments to explain colors. To see colors. If you wanted to see a color, like you had to find something that was that color. You couldn't just use a computer to make colors.
Yes.
So his thing was like, so you've got one shade of blue, right? And then you've got a darker shade of blue. You can use your imagination to imagine a shade of blue between those two shades of blue.
True.
Even if you've never seen it before. This is a relation of ideas. There's no guarantee that shade of blue actually exists anywhere. But you can still imagine. So that's a relationship of ideas. That's a separate type of knowledge from an observation. That was kind of his point, was that like you have relations of ideas and you have actual observations, and those are separate kinds of knowledge. Those are separate ways of relating to the world around you. And he just put the primacy very heavily on your observations. That like, without your observations, you have nothing. You are nothing. Yes. If you took away all of your sense experiences from the world, if you took away all of the sense experiences from your mind, you would not even have an immortal soul. You would just have nothing. There just wouldn't be anything you could coherently talk about. That when Descartes says like, oh, I can take away all of my sense knowledge, all of my memory, all of this stuff, and instead I will only use logic and reason. Hume would say you can't even do that. You wouldn't even have the experiences necessary to come up with logic. Yeah,
I agree with that. We're back. Hume's back in the realm of people who give me framework for why art works, it functions.
I will say I am much more sympathetic to Hume in a lot of ways than I am to any of the other major characters in this. I find Hume's arguments pretty solid. I tend to find Hume pretty convincing. I don't know how much of it is colored by the fact that from everything I've learned, like of philosophers to actually hang out with, he would actually be one of the best ones to hang out with. Apparently, like a chill, fun dude, a chill, fun dude who liked to go on walks on the Scottish heath and drink lots of beer and like he's just like and like didn't really
Write,
take
like, a
himself
Tinder
too
profile for
seriously.
this man.
Yeah, like it didn't really take himself too seriously. Like it's compared to a lot of these other guys. Like, oh my god, like Kant seems like one of the worst people to hang out with in the history of the planet. Like,
Quite an inflated sense of ego in many of these men, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean this with not evil in my heart to say, but unfortunately there is a plague among many philosophers, which is, I understand the thing better than you, and I thought about a thing you never thought of. Therefore, I'm cooler and better and maybe more handsome than you.
oh my god, yeah. Some of them are really obnoxious. Some are very obnoxious. A lot of them are terrible people. On top of that,
yes.
I don't think any of the people we have to talk about today are. I mean, Kant does have some morally repugnant acts in his life, which is interesting.
He's not fantastic, but not the worst of them either.
Not the worst by any stretch. Oh my god, we're not talking about like Schmidt or Heidegger today. Like we've got the floor is really low.
Heidegger, whose namesake for a reason went to a character in Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
For a reason. There's a reason.
Yep.
Can we imagine what the reason is?
Yep. And can you believe it? Schmidt's actually worse.
I can believe it. I can believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know as much about him, but I know more about Heidegger. But
yeah. I'll just give
really concerning.
I'll just give this the very quick
Spark notes.
the very quick overview of this is that Heidegger was a Nazi philosopher who wrote about the concept of being and time and phenomenology and all this stuff. And it's actually there's a live debate to this day over like how separable are his beliefs from the fact that he was just an enthusiastic member of the Nazi Party. like this is not like this is not like Heisenberg who like kind of showed up. He's like this guy was like my
bias is not acknowledged. My bias is just the writing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
However, like his writings on like what a human's relationship with time is and stuff like that is all kind of interesting and like some people say it's not worth exploring anymore. Some people do, etc., etc. Carl Schmitt was also a Nazi philosopher, and he had a lot of them. He was really like his philosophy was a philosophy of Nazism. Like it was like there's not like a philosophy of Schmitt that isn't Nazi philosophy. It's not like nothing. There's like he was writing political philosophy about like exterminating other people. Like it's like very unambiguous guy here. So
they're writing defenses for what they're doing, essentially.
Yeah.
If you can apply logic to it and convince people of your logic to it, which is what's happening right now and other places. If you can do that, then you will win the public conscience, theoretically.
Yeah.
So if you would make it seem like you've invented your own stem of philosophy that is the right one. And people are like, "Oh, I see. That's propaganda," and that it works. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good line of thinking that like when you're looking at somebody's philosophy, you also have to ask yourself about their premises and not just their conclusions.
You gotta figure out how they got to those things they're considering in the first place sometimes. Break them down a little bit. And in general, I always like to warn people that if a philosopher is like affirming things you already wanted to believe a lot, that's when you have to be the most cautious. Like that's when they're telling you self-flattering things. Those are the people to really look out for. Those are the people you have to. It's like max skepticism. Often.
Like
there's a thing you should do. It's good for health.
Yeah, there's a point of self-flattery where it's like, oh, this person's trying to like get something from me, like that you should really be on your guard about.
They're luring you in.
Fellow gullible person revealing the secret of how you survive in this world while being generally pretty gullible. Don't
let them butter you up.
Don't let them butter you up. Don't let them do it.
I see you coming here with that butter knife. I'm not letting that near me. I know what you're about. I know how that goes. It's not happening.
This is a bit of a divergence. So Hume is making this argument that there's an external reality. There's an external reality, and that's all that's real, and then we can make conclusions about that can tell us other things, but we're limited by what we can observe. And to give a sense of how extreme this gets, did you get to the paradox of induction? Because it's my favorite thing. It's like my favorite thing.
Not.
Oh, the paradox of induction sucks.
I learned all of these things once upon a time. I did take a philosophy course, and all of it is familiar, but in my review, I was like, all right, I have a feeling we're going to get stuck. I'm going to get stuck on a couple of these things, and then I kind of skimmed a couple other things out.
That's fair. So before I do the paradox of induction, thank you MRG Jesus, Elijah Tucker 110, Grackle Gaming, and Rotar Farts for the follows.
Oh, here, wait, I'll rapid fire mine too.
Yeah.
Aislinn Yuki and Director Nemo, thank you for following. Also, Oddpod you subbed a while ago, but thank you! Welcome back!
Yeah, Ryan the Space God. Yeah, you have to make that statement because it's not actually something that you can make philosophies that don't rely on that assumption, and they are still interesting. And in particular, math does not require that reality exists. All of mathematics does not require that. It is not a baseline assumption for mathematics.
I love imaginary numbers.
Yeah, I love imaginary numbers. I love transfinites. It's all pretty cool. So the paradox of induction is so inductive logic, right? Induction is something happened this way before, therefore it will happen this way again. Okay. So
yes.
I hold a pencil in my hand, and I let go of it, and it falls to the ground. And clatters and stuff, right?
I've done it, yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Why did you listen to me?
I did just drop it on myself and let it fall to the ground.
Yeah, so like before you drop that, you can pick it up again and hold it in your hand, and without dropping, you understand, you believe that when you let go of it, it will fall to the ground.
Do I believe in gravity?
Yes.
That's my first
Well,
question.
actually, no, not even that. You don't even have to believe in gravity. This is less than believing in gravity. This is even less than that. This is believing that because something happened one way,
yeah,
it will happen the same way again.
I believe because I dropped that pencil and it fell to the floor before, that when I do it a second time,
yes,
it did also fall.
You believe that because things happened one way in the past, they will continue to happen that way in the future. Okay.
Yeah, pattern recognition.
Yeah. Alive. No, this is the problem. This is the nightmare. This is actually a nightmare. What is your evidence that the basic pattern recognition will continue to hold into the future?
True.
What is your evidence that because things like in the past you have said in the past was a prediction of the future. In the past, the past was a prediction of the future. How do you know that in the future the past will continue to be a prediction of the future?
Linear time.
The only evidence you have, the only evidence you have is internal to itself. The only evidence you have is that it happened before. The only evidence you have that things will continue to be the same is that they were the same before. It's not logically sound. Induction is not logically sound. This sucks. It sucks.
It does suck.
It's an awful thing to know about the world. It's an awful thing to know about the. It doesn't even require dark matter, Babinka Bear. It could just be anything. It could be anything. It could be like the sun rising, right? It could be any goddamn thing could just change. The Earth could spawn like we, and all of
this is how you develop an anxiety disorder. In case you're wondering.
Yeah. Ryan the Space God understands it. Repeatability has always been repeatable. Like,
oh wait,
yeah.
Unless
I just got here and I'm confused. That's fair, Fishy. That's fair.
Me too.
So this is why the reason why I bring this up is because we already kind of brought up the fundamental limitation of Descartes, which is that Descartes' ability to say that like I need to check the street before I cross it or else I might get hit by a car and die. Descartes' ability for that to be useful advice rests on God being real and nice and honest. Which is a lot of things. If you look both ways,
you will be okay. Which is a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to assume, and you know what assumptions make out of you and me. They
absolutely. And so like Hume has gone the exact opposite direction, and he has gone very hard into like the only thing that is real is what we can observe. We cannot rely on our thoughts to guide us. We can only rely on our experiences. All of our thoughts are actually subsets of our experiences. And like that means that only what we are literally seeing right now is things that we can be confident about. And then I've just demonstrated like how this becomes intensely impractical. Like intensely impractical. Hume, to his credit, looked at this particular one and he was like, this is a cool thought experiment. I'm not going to live my life as if this is like I'm not gonna change how I live my life based on this.
Yeah, like, I would advise we all follow that.
Yeah. Well, and Selma Shepard gets into like the thing that all of these guys have been walking past because they're Enlightenment era scholars, which is what if you're just mentally ill?
Truth. Descartes says at some point, he's like, I don't gotta worry about this stuff. I'm not insane. I'm like, my man, I don't know about that. I don't know people you're putting in the category of insane or not. And I don't know why you've not placed yourself in that category. Also,
oh my god, yeah, no, my
making assumptions about himself also.
my mental image of Descartes is always like a guy walking around like elbow deep in pig guts. But like,
I picture him staring like he's just a guy who's staring straight forward into a fireplace forever and not moving to me. That is him in my mind. He just stares.
And glad to be here. 100 deduction is a completely different form of logic. Is a completely different form of concluding things. Inductions and deductions are actually exclusionary. They are not the same. You can do deductions with inductions and do inductions with deductions, but they are actually separate steps and types of logic. But it's so yeah, like his whole point was like the whole point that I was bringing up was like induction is actually like less philosophically sound than we want it to be, which is awful, right? Like that's one we really want. It's frustrating, it's awful. Which gets us to the guy I was trying to avoid talking about today.
Yippee.
It's Kant. It's Kant.
I had a horrible moment of I had a moment when I was doing my looking back to be like, all right, EG, re-up your knowledge, make sure you're at least fresh on most of these concepts. And I did in fact discover on my YouTube channel, not my YouTube channel, just like my login that I've had since I was a kid, that I did in fact attempt to watch several videos on explaining Kant's actually several of his writings. I was like, and I finished none of them. I was like, oh no, I've been here before. Oh no, I've been here before. Oh no.
Oh no.
I mean, if you don't want to talk about him, you can't.
It's dreadful. So Kant is
he's so dead.
He's like one of the worst writers.
Why?
He's like a top 10 awful writer of like all of human history. It's so bad.
Thoughts. But why you gotta say it like that? Why?
So Kant draws a series of distinctions that I think is actually kind of neat, right? Which is, so Hume is talking about this distinction between things you can observe and things that you can think. And I need to remember the word for this. I need to a priori analytic as a priori versus a posteriori and analytic versus synthetic. Those are the terms.
Yes.
We're getting into like actual hard terminology here. I really apologize. This is going to like the human stuff was like relatively simple compared to this one. So a priori means that you do not need any observation for it to be true. It is true timelessly. It is true based on the priors, a priori, from the priors. A posteriori, as in like looking backwards, as in you have to have an observation to sustain it, right? That a posteriori. And then there's analytic versus synthetic. Analytic means that it is the whole truth of it is contained within the ideas. And synthetic means that the conclusion is a melange of things that transcend the premises.
Melange, that's a good word for that.
Yeah, that it's something that is greater, that is greater than the sum of its parts. Whereas an analytic truth is something that is merely the sum of its parts.
Yes.
So a priori means doesn't need evidence. A posteriori means needs external evidence.
Are you all taking notes?
Yeah, I'm repeating it a couple times. Yeah.
I have a Google Doc that I had many things written down in for this, and I do have those written in it already.
Yeah, it might actually help to. It also might help to draw it as like a set of squares. It's kind of how I did it. Because this is where we're going with this, right? Is like, so you know how like you've got like your alignment charts. Right, we got a 2x2 alignment chart here. A posteriori and a posteriori. You know, you've got things that do not require additional evidence and things that do require additional evidence, that do require observed evidence. And then you've got things that are just the sum of their parts and things that transcend the sum of their parts. Okay, so those are our two axes.
Ah, nice. Yep.
And then those conclude. Those have collisions, right? Those collide at the squares.
Where they overlap.
I almost feel like I should go over to my live and draw this in MS Paint. That
you are welcome to do so. If you share it with me on Discord, I can put it on mine also.
Let me get it window grab, MS Paint. So yeah, we're doing the big stuff here. I guess I can screen share it with you. Let me increase the canvas size so that I'm not just using like 1/8 of the screen. And okay, there we go. And I will screen share it to EG. Though actually, I will hit the ad break while I'm setting this up.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I think mine just ended.
Yeah, yours just ended. I was paying attention. I have horrible ADHD, so I'm always looking. I have. It turns out that having crippling ADHD is actually just an advantage in the world of VTubing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because people are like, how do you yap? I'm like, that's usually that's usually bad that I'm doing that, but in VTubing, that's considered a good thing. Wow.
Yeah, like this is like it is a learnable skill to a certain extent, but it is also something the school system worked very hard to get me to do less of.
Yes. They tried so hard to make me stop multitasking. Oh. I've sent you to the void, unfortunately. I will bring you back, but
I've been voided.
Slightly.
I've also off-centered you a little bit, so you're cut off. So.
Oh, because I teleported. That would be why.
No, it's because it's just like OBS things on my end. The locations kind of like the transforms carry over scenes in ways that I don't want them to.
I see.
So here's our squares, and let's. I don't want Cambria. Cambria is actually okay. Cambria is okay. It's not great though. Do I have Georgia? Yeah, Georgia's the good stuff. So a priori, I do not need it to be in 72. 72 is a little bit big for my purposes. 48.
We'll talk. I'm glad we've got serifs on the font for this discussion. I think that's important.
It's hard. You can't stop me, Seraphin. Every day I'm Seraphin.
I will not stop you, Seraphin. I will tell you, I am. Oh, well, you did just stop Seraphin.
I don't know why it stopped.
We called this live. I don't know why. You're betraying yourself now. There you go.
Okay.
For legibility's sake and for character differentiation's sake, I believe that serif font is better.
Yeah, I think it's easier to read.
Mm-hmm. But it's not trendy.
It isn't, and I think there's something wrong with the graphic designers.
It's so sad. It's so much easier for me to typeset if it's serif because the individual letters are larger.
Yeah. Posterior. I need to double check how you spell this.
Woo! Latin roots.
Posteriori.
Just stick some vowels in there. It'll go well.
There we go. A posteriori.
Does, yes.
It does need external evidence, and let's bump you up to 36 to make it look, and italic. I want you italic as well, because these are our key terms here. And then let's do another one.
No, not like but. No.
Analytic.
You'd be surprised. We've got roots that come from similar things, maybe for those.
Analytic.
Words,
that people are complaining that it's small, so it goes.
Oh. The font might be small. I can't make my source any larger, unfortunately. I wish Discord would let me hide the funny little bar where we exist.
And this is paint, so it's now like locked in. I can zoom in.
See, that helps. That helps.
Yeah, I can zoom in a little bit.
That's good. Yeah.
And then synthetic. Why does it want Segoe UI? That's a strange one. 30s.
Oh, is it picking like funny system fonts or something?
Yeah, but like I don't even use and then
my computer, if left to its own devices, pretty much exclusively wants to be in Myriad Pro, which is awful.
That's strange.
I despise it, actually. I am not a fan of it doing that. Oh,
okay,
Amber, thank you for resubscribing.
So here's our kind of our square, right? Here's kind of our square. And so here's what Kant is arguing, is that this is like thoughts, right here. This is relations of ideas. This is what relations of ideas are here. And then over here, we've got like scientific knowledge. Knowledge.
We're putting pieces together for that. And
so this was all that this is all that Hume was talking about, was relations of ideas and like scientific knowledge. And so here's the problem. This is the thing that Hume concluded that was the real problem for a lot of people. God would be in here, and this is bullshit. That's
he doesn't need his own square. He's got enough going on.
Well, and this is the nature of so like I would even say it even more broadly. Hume is making the argument that metaphysics is neither a relation of ideas nor a form of observable scientific fact. So it's just not a piece of knowledge that can be covered by philosophy, is what Hume is arguing. And so Kant enters the arena to do this. Kant enters the arena because that upsets him. He wants God to be real. And so therefore he does this breakdown where he decomposes Hume's ideas into two sets of ideas so that he can create this square. I'm sorry, not this square. This square. I'm wrong. I was wrong. The synthetic a priori is what he wants.
Yes.
Is what he wants. He wants synthetic a priori to be real.
Which logically to me does not make sense.
And Borax Sniffer brings up the specific Kant quote. Kant said that Hume woke me from my dogmatic slumber. And in fairness to Kant, I respect getting into a field of accomplishment entirely because you read something that just made you so mad that you had to disprove it. I respect this. I do respect it. I do respect just wanting to prove somebody wrong as like a motivation for artistic output and for intellectual exploration. I respect it.
Yeah.
But I'm behind on the follows. But we'll get back. We'll get there at some point. And yeah, hell yeah, we are nerding like crazy here. And I will be honest. Much of Kant's writing is, and where he loses me, is trying to demonstrate that a priori synthetic knowledge is a valid category of knowledge.
That is my key takeaway that I even remembered being frustrated about once upon a time when I was first learning it, where I was like, my man, I don't know about this one. It feels like you're reaching. It feels like you have a thing. It's the way that you don't do research, which is you don't go into research with your outcome already determined and then find a way to prove it. That's not how you do research. And to me, that is very much what him doing that felt like, where he already had his outcome. He knew what his outcome was, so he decided, how do I defend this? Yeah. Which is not how you do research. That's not how you, no.
Well, this is a quaternary system. Glad to be here. This is a quaternary system. The binary, Hume would argue, no. There's four outcomes here. Oh, we've got raid.
I've been raided. Oh wait, so we're raided. Do we get raided together? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm looking. It shows up in my chat. I am.
Oh, yippee! Welcome in.
Yeah, welcome in, bees. Welcome in, bees.
Hello.
You have come in at us explaining and exploring something that the two of us both found too complicated and frustrating to actually understand.
Welcome in. Prepare. Buckle up. We're doing existentialism, just a little bit.
Yeah, we're doing epistemology. Glad to be here. I will address that. And so I will. So let's and then.
I hope you had a good stream, though.
Though there is actually a posteriori analytic knowledge. It's actually really funny. It's actually really
Nobody
funny.
cares.
Nobody cares, but it does exist and it's really funny.
I love that as a thing to put there.
Strictly speaking, Kripke cares. But
that's true.
Strictly speaking, one guy cares, but nobody
There's at
cares.
least one guy who cares a lot about that one.
Not even a lot. It's just really funny that he found something. It's just really funny.
Oh, Selma cares too.
yeah, Selma cares. I cared because I like things to be complete, but it was so to what you were saying, glad to be here. Within Hume's set of knowledge, the way that Hume sets knowledge, the metaphysics square not real. There are four outcomes. Hume is only doing. I might put little.
Can we color code our guys? Because color code our guys.
I'm gonna do Hume. I'm gonna at least put them here.
Yeah, there you go. There you
and
go.
then Hume, and then I'm going to do. What do we want for Kant? I feel like Kant's blue.
You should have picked an evil color for. You should pick red for Kant.
I guess. I picked red because it was the first color I saw in the color picker.
That's fair. That's fine.
And then I'm gonna give purple for Kripke.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, Kripke's like way later and way less important than any of these guys, but this is actually very funny. This thing up here is funny. So Kant, I don't know. Kant always feels very blue to me. Maybe it's because he's Prussian. That might be it.
Okay,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
He feel his energy is red to me, which
I can see it. He feels like the kind of guy
brain.
who would be wearing like a red coat. Whereas Hume is Scottish, so maybe I should. And Scotland's more blue.
See, I'm challenging all of our conceptions about things. We're learning about how we are. Whoa, Phil Bucket.
It's not going well. It is not going well. The MS Paint Phil Bucket doesn't. Away. The MS Paint Phil Bucket is not holding up here, baby. It is not doing its job.
That is a solid attempt. Oh, beautiful. This is a graphic design is my passion type.
This is why I'm not
diagram.
allowed near the graphic design stuff at work. This is why
for your papers for publishing, do you? I actually don't know how much of this you have to do, but whenever we would have to do when I was in chem, I would always be the one who got saddled with any amount of diagramming.
Oh.
It was always me. They were like, you have the art major. You have to do the diagramming. You have to do all of that stuff.
No,
I was like, fellas, it's not the same skill.
We actually do not make our graphic designer do the diagrams as a rule. She does like layouts and stuff like that. Oddly, me and the econ guy, our finance guy, end up doing a lot of them because we're the ones who know LaTeX. So
that is one of those things I love to see. I want to see one of these days one of your strangest, nichest diagrams.
This is one of my least niche diagrams. I can find some pretty niche diagrams.
I have a really good diagram of a rat that has really just completely incomprehensible text on it that I had to make for something.
Oh, that rules.
That's what they wanted. That's what they asked for. I was like, this isn't proving anything. I don't know why we needed this. They're like, it's for visualization. It's really important that you understand the rat does not know what's going on.
I do remember having to make a linear regression plot, but each point on the linear regression plot was a composition of 1,000 other plots that were also themselves compositions of 1,000 plots. It was like 18 million data points condensed down to 6 data points. It was ridiculous.
My word.
Chemistry, baby.
Chem.
Yeah, you did chem. You understand like 10 to the 26 is a number that comes up a lot, and that's a really big number.
Yeah, I love representing things that are to like the 22nd or 26th or anything like that.
Yeah.
When you're on a scale that does have to include just things that are just single digits also.
It's so honestly if you haven't done thermodynamics, it's always so funny to be like, okay, so we've got like 10 to the 32 divided by 10 to the negative 10th. Like, it's like insane. It's disgusting. The numbers involved. The numbers in thermo are so enormous, and so tiny. All at the same time. You're like really like rocketing up and down the scientific notation when you're doing thermo. Yeah. It's great. But yeah, so Kant, so Hume makes the point that Hume makes an argument for atheism that I personally found very compelling, which is, I haven't experienced God, so I can't say anything about it. It's just outside of my consideration. And so Kant doesn't like this. Kant wants the Christian God to be real. He wants the stories he grew up with to continue to be true and meaningful and have an impact on his life. And have an impact on his life.
Yes.
And Kant has so the example, actually I should say, glad to be here. This is actually where he fucking loses me, to be blunt. This is where Kant loses me, is like the big canonical example. Which is 7 plus 5 equals 12.
Uh-huh. No, well, yes.
It loses me. I don't think it proves anything. I don't think it demonstrates jack. Kant is making this point that 7 plus 5 equals 12. Yes, 12 does not contain 7 plus 5. It transcends. Borax Sniffer has it exactly. However, my understanding of mathematics, which is apparently not the same as Kant's on another ground, there's another place where I just disagree with his understanding of math, is that 7 and 5 and 12 are all just shorthands of 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, etc.
Yeah, we're grouping things for ease.
Yeah, so I have never found it compelling. The other part that I didn't find compelling was he made, this is less relevant to this particular thing, he made this argument about demonstrating that we live in an absolute universe as opposed to a relative coordinate system. Right? Can I turn on my hand cam? I wonder if my hand cam's working right now. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, hand cam's working. Hand cam's working right now. Yeah, you can see my hair tie. So he was making this argument that a left glove and a right glove are indistinguishable in a relative coordinate system, right? In a relative coordinate system, you know, you've got your thumbs and your fingers and your palms, etc., etc.
We're getting into chirality.
Yeah. You have the exact same objection I do, which is you understand how chirality works in mathematics. You know how to mathematically notate chirals.
So you have to explain what that means. That's a word that you don't hear.
so it's not a word that you hear very often. So you know. Like, intuitively, you understand why. I think most people looking at my hands can understand the objection here, which is thumb, index finger, etc., right? Thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, palm, etc. So it's the same things, right? It's the same components. They're laid out in the same fashion. We've got the palm. The thumb is coming out. The thumb is coming out earlier. The thumb is coming out earlier. Fingers coming out here. Fingers coming out here. It's always in the same order, top to bottom. But you know that they're not the same.
They're not.
You know that they're not the same. You know that this looks. You know that this looks weird. You know that this is not how like hands work, right? Like you can see this. This is called chirality. Chirality is a series of mathematical notations for keeping track of relative rotations inside of a single object.
Yes.
And this is really, really important in chemistry for a lot of very important reasons. It has a lot to do with optics. It has to do with also, like, it's why Splenda doesn't have calories. Is that Splenda has is sugar with a slightly different chirality? Yeah, you're about to, looks like you've got rotations incoming.
Yay, rotation! This is particularly my topic because I have a degree in organic chem.
Yeah.
Very, very, very intense discussions about what chirality and achirality means for molecules because it's really important in synthesis.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yes.
I'm not going to go down that.
We don't need to get into
we don't need
to get into the details of it. We just need to demonstrate that like this was not a
just because something being a thing sharing a sum of parts does not make them the same thing.
Yeah.
Inherently. If you superimpose things, that is when we learn whether things are the same or not. But how do we superimpose thoughts and concepts?
Yeah. And both of these are cases where, to my eyes, it is a question of Kant not like the math not that Kant had access to being somewhat limited in the notations available and the thoughts available to him, and this caused him to conclude things about math that I just think are not true. And this leads him to make a lot of arguments, and I personally have to me, this is something that makes me actually very angry. It's actually like a bit of a trigger thing to me as I studied more philosophy. It was something that made me increasingly angry as I got deeper and deeper into philosophy, was trucking in the prestige of a completely unrelated discipline as sustenance for your argument. Like Kant is kind of like the actual underlying thing that Kant is doing is he's kind of holding a gun to your head. He's holding a gun to your head, and that gun. Yeah. You do have a gun. You've got a very tiny gun.
Me, I'm Kant. Hello.
If God isn't real, then we can't do math.
God is real, therefore we have math.
Yeah.
You're gonna make people.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not doing the argument. He's doing the argument that like this category a priori synthetic is necessary for math to continue to operate. And therefore, we can't reject God because metaphysics is an incoherent concept. We have to have metaphysics as a coherent concept, or else we can't do math. And you don't want to give up math, right? You can't give up math.
No,
you can't cut funding to math. Like, you can't give up math. Like, math.
Have to have math.
We have to have math. We have to have math. We can't give up math now, guys. We can't give up math. We have to keep going with the math. And
he
that's
said, "Math, please stand in front of God. He needs a defenseman."
Alpine coming here. Rairaku, this is my experience with. You are getting a less than particularly sympathetic version of Kant. We might have wanted to bring on somebody who was more sympathetic to Kant here, because both me and EG read this stuff, and we were both like, "This doesn't work.
What's wrong with you, man?"
This doesn't work. Like, we were not. Neither of us was convinced by the arguments that he's laying out. So I don't think we're presenting them in the most favorable and sympathetic light. And they're really complicated.
Highlighted what a lot of listening to people talk about philosophy can end up sounding like, is it does sound like sitting next to a drunk man on a bus.
Yes. Yes.
And you're sitting next to two drunk people in your screen that may or may not be real. And I think we're going to prove to you that we are real maybe at some point. I think we already did.
Yeah. So you are getting the relative, like, I am not doing like the steel man version of this argument, because again, I didn't find it very compelling. And every time I've tried to read it more, I have felt like I was staring at smoke and mirrors. I felt like I was looking at sophistry.
I feel like, despite all of my attempts to grasp it, I'm like, I don't know about that one. It like slips through my fingers. I'm like, I see what you're saying. I'm not picking up what you're putting down, but I see what you're putting down. I see it. I witness it.
Well, and Fishy, it's to some extent what Kant is trying to do is what Kant is also doing is he's elevating mathematics from merely being a relationship of ideas. And again, I'm not bothered by this. I've hung out with a lot of mathematicians. When I was in graduate school, the people who I hung out with when I didn't want to talk about like my actual topics that I had to give a shit about, were mathematicians. I hung out with the math department, who were actually really fun. They were actually really fun. So I did pick up some things from them. I do not understand a lot of the stuff that they were doing, but I did get drunk with them a lot, and I did get a lot of free pizza. And I did understand a lot about the internal politics of a math department. Spoiler, they are very similar to the internal politics of everything else on the planet. Turns out that the people at the top of pyramids are the people who are good at climbing pyramids, as one mathematician I knew put it. But how did they divide that pizza? The standard method, because they didn't feel like explaining it every time. they just sliced it.
Very good. See, that's called practicality. You can't let just your beliefs get in the way of the practicality of living your life. That's the whole point of everything today.
Yeah. No, the pharaohs never climbed pyramids. They got put inside the pyramids.
Which is arguably worse.
Arguably worse, arguably better. Really?
Depending on stance.
Depending on your stance.
The whole point was to climb it, though, because that's how you go to the afterlife.
That's how you get
climbing it.
That's how you get a really good suntan.
That also, I'd imagine.
Yeah. No, I mean, Borax, I do agree with you. That philosophy does feel like doing philosophy is worth doing for its own sake, to be honest. I think this stuff is actually worth exploring. I think it's interesting and cool.
It's fun.
Yeah, Kant tried to brute force relation of ideas into metaphysics and fail. That is my read. Glad to be here. And I want to be clear here. This is absolutely not the most sympathetic take.
We are not here to be unbiased.
Yeah, both me and EG are
acknowledged.
We are people who got chemistry degrees and then became artists of various types.
Yes.
And we just did not find this a compelling argument. Apparently, any of the times
pipeline might be related.
Yeah, the similar pipelines might be related. If anything, probably common cause, right? Like because we have these biases about how knowledge works, it caused us both to find chemistry more interesting than other sciences, and to find doing art and craftsmanship more interesting than doing other things
fulfilling.
Then we could do other things we could do with our time. I think we just have similar cognitions in a lot of ways. I will also point out a thing that he is wrong within the field that he's trying to argue from. I do believe that. I do believe that he's just wrong about a couple of things mathematically, and that's really crippling to his argument from my perspective. Yes. It's really a problem.
I would say so.
I'm going to make a brief line to a posteriori analytic. So analytic means that something is just the sum of its parts, which is to say that anything that is an analytic truth is actually just a definition. right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes.
EG is EG, right? Like, it's that level of knowledge,
Truth.
it's just like things that are true because of their definitions.
Mm-hmm.
A increase in labor supply and a decrease in demand is a recession. That's just kind of what the words mean. Those are just kind of what the words mean. So how can something be just a definition and also need external evidence? Yeah, bachelors are single men is the classic example. That's the classic example. So,
yes.
yeah. So how can something require external evidence and also just be a definition? Right? That's weird, right? That sounds insane.
Yeah, that's... When you put it that way, I think that does really highlight... Yeah, no.
That does highlight why nobody
make sense.
cared for a long time. So it turns out that this actually did happen.
Okay. Paradox.
No, it's not a paradox. It's just like a pointless observation. It's just merely pointless. But it did happen in reality. Which is, do you know what the morning star is?
In what context?
Astronomy.
Maybe not.
Okay. Okay, the morning star is an astronomical phenomena.
Okay.
Shh, Babinka Bear.
Venus?
Shh.
I do know this one. Hang on, I'll shut up.
It's very cool. It's a stellar body. It's a thing that you can observe in the sky, transiting rather rapidly across the sky in the morning. And then there's an evening star that makes a similar transit across in the evening. It turns out that both of those are Venus.
Yes.
So the morning star and the evening star are both Venus. Therefore, the morning star is the evening star. Therefore, Venus is Venus. It's an analytic truth. It's just a definition. But we didn't know that it was just a definition until modern astronomy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
We thought they were separate. We thought they were separate things.
We did. I was watching. Are you familiar with? There's a fellow on the internet called Salmonella.
Yes, I do know Salmonella. Yeah.
He has recently been recounting encyclopedias, and I can't remember whose they were, but there's someone's encyclopedias from way back when, and it does talk about that very briefly, and that was my familiarity with it. I was like, why does this sound familiar? Because he's like, yeah, here are things that we know to be analytically true. There are 2 suns sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's never been observed to be more than 3 suns. And like counting but moons, and then there's a star that goes across the sky. We've seen it, we know it's real. And then sometimes the rivers in this other place cry blood. I'm like, you've seen that? That's real? Okay. Yep. Sure. Did you see it? I don't think you saw it.
Hell yeah.
You're taking someone else's word for it, but
Oh, no.
there you go. Oh, green.
Yeah, I was realizing that by trying to fill in red
plenty?
and blue with each other, they were just both kind of looking pretty purpley, and then it made the purple look really
that's
purpley. It made it look really indistinct. I ruined my own color coding in like 8 different ways. This is awful.
That was beautiful. I love this. This is exactly what we needed.
This is what happens when your word guy tries to do like graphics, or at least when I tried to do them quickly. At least when I tried to
install Metabang Paint on your PC. The other thing is we could have done this in a Word, in like a text document.
Yeah, honestly, if I had been doing this normally, I actually would have done this in Excel. Strictly speaking, Libra Calc is probably where I would have done it. But yeah, because I live in spreadsheets, man. I live in spreadsheets. But it's so this is like the real basic breakdown that we've done here. The real basic breakdown of the first of Enlightenment understandings of epistemology. This is like your crash course in the fundamental nature of how do we know things. And these are 3 different camps. They are known as rationalism, which is Descartes. Rationalism, Descartes is arguing that reason is the source of all knowledge. That's rationalism. And Hume is an empiricist, is the term. If you take Hume really far, you become a realist. Which is a confusing word because people in different schools, realism means different things.
Completely different things.
Completely different things.
Like modern. That word means like 900 different things.
Oh yeah, no, me and EG have talked about this before. Is like to me, modern means 1500. Which is not what it means to EG at all. And so
No.
realism is actually, it's just important to remember, philosophical realism is actually an incredibly impractical school of thought. It is a really bad way to try to live your life. Do not be a philosophical realist. A philosophical realism is when it's like, the only things exist are what I can directly observe, up to and including, like, if I close my eyes, reality stops.
It does not believe in object permanence.
Yeah, like, you have to understand, it's a really impractical way to live your life. It is a philosophically
but it is the way that
coherent.
babies live their lives.
It's a philosophically coherent way to live. Yeah, it's the way babies live. Like, it is a high level of skepticism. I'm glad to be here. There's a lot of, there's many different ways that you can get to incredibly impractical levels of maximal skepticism. There are other methods that can be higher. You can doubt your senses. Glad to be here.
Yes,
you can doubt your senses.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Yeah, you can be like, all of my senses are actually hallucinations.
I would say that's why we mentioned earlier how mental health has not played a role in this yet. They weren't thinking about that one because that is a big impact on your understanding and relationship with reality. Knowing where you fit in. And there are many cases where you can lose sense of yourself being real and existing, and not in the silly haha funny sense of us joking about it, but like for real.
I mean, it's very important, like, for people with anxiety disorders to, like, keep reminding themselves that is this real, or am I just having a panic attack? And it's like almost all forms of neuroticism are forms of, like, your judgment about the external world being wrong.
It's looking at the patterns and saying what we said earlier, but what if just this one time it doesn't do the thing that it has been historically proven to do every time it's ever happened before?
Yeah, yeah, so you know, just kind of a note. Reading this kind of philosophy can be a really good way of making your anxiety disorder worse. That
is what I learned.
Yeah, that's what
why I went, Almantas, I'm losing my sense of self. Help!
and the answer is it's probably best to continue living your life as if there is an external world that you have a relationship with, and that that influences you and that you influence. Spinoza's actually super affirming. Spinoza's pretty fun. I like Spinoza. Weird dude, but also pretty fun among the modernists. So we are kind of put into this spot of and yeah, glad to be here. We did start off with Descartes. We did start off with a discussion of Descartes. It's just that we only really talked about him as like a place to get a grounding for, like, like what
Our
is and it's kind of a but I don't know if you know Babinka Bear, EG, but Babinka Bear is, like, really knowledgeable about mythology, about historical mythologies. That's her thing. That's her thing. She's also an art. I think, are you also an art educator, Babinka Bear?
Intriguing.
Yeah, she's super cool. But I'm glad you're learning. I'm hopeful that you're learning.
I'm also learning. I'm absorbing more. Many of these are things I've heard historically, but now hearing them said again, repetition is the key.
Well, and it's also like we're also having a back and forth about it, right? We're also having a back and forth.
Participating helps learning too.
Yeah, participating helps learning. Learning and teaching and learning are very similar. Are very similar. No, but
I
Binka,
learned so much from teaching.
Yeah, you learn so much from teaching. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Even though I don't teach anymore, I do recommend people take a hand at it at some point in your life. Like, it's very cool. It's very cool to see.
Even if it's just explaining to people how something works, learning the skill of teaching, just to show somebody how something works, teaching somebody to care about something, showing them how to do something in a way that is understandable and goes beyond your innate understanding of it. It's a good skill to have.
Yes.
Just like on the tool belt there.
Yeah.
I would say. Makes navigating the world much easier. And then you can also be like a very pleasant member of society. You can be helpful.
Yes. It does help. It is the alternative, the opposite of being a teacher is to be the kind of person who doesn't explain why anything works ever to anybody around you. And this tends to be very frustrating. It tends to be very frustrating.
Yes,
I should note, as I have to note very frequently, because people get this wrong all the time. I'm a sociologist. That was what I was a professor of back when I was still a professor. I'm not a historian. People think I was a historian a lot. My grounding
you
in
know a lot about it, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's because it's what I read these days. The book that I have about 5 pages left on is a history book. Like I understand philosophy because it's actually really hard to do a social science degree without taking philosophy courses. Like it's just hard to do it. Like if you don't know these guys, it's just really, really frustrating. It's just really, really frustrating.
They show up a lot, so it's better to understand what they're about. Because they show up a lot because the reason why I'm familiar with them and ended up taking psychology was because they show up a lot in art history, specifically. Because when people are spiraling about the state of humanity and society and war and all of those things, they do turn to philosophy quite often. So these names are very common, especially if you're reading any amount of like theses and art and all that stuff. So it's good to know who they are and what they're about.
No, I mean, glad to be here. It's exactly what I just said. It's because you need to know how you know things to do sociology. It just comes up.
You should know how to know things anyway, because it helps you with learning. If you know how you are intaking information and how that becomes knowledge, how that process works, you are more likely to be more specific about the way that you are searching for information, and it helps streamline that process.
Oh my god, it speeds it up so much. It speeds it up so much. No, you're good. Glad to be here. Repetition is a critical part of teaching. It's one of those things you learn when you're a teacher, is that you often have to repeat yourself in order for your students to really get things. And as you learn over and over again while you're teaching, when you repeat yourself during a lesson, it emphasizes how important that lesson is.
Don't worry. I think we are both strong believers of no bad questions, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, there are bad questions, but like you have to work at it. You have to. I can come up with.
You have to try. No, that's true.
Try.
You have to try. You have to try. There are bad questions. The bad questions are the questions that are asked to me intentionally to make me tangent and spiral off in another direction. That's a bad question.
I was thinking about different questions, which were dishonest questions. Yeah, bad faith, like questions
true.
that are not actually the question, and like it's
yes.
It's a. I'm not even going to mention some of them because even like talking about them is going to give people ideas. But
no. Don't give them ideas. Don't give them ideas.
But yeah, the reinforcing of knowledge. It's and so yeah, I actually have a very particular memory, right, of when I was studying when I was taking a history course. It was just kind of background for a sociology course I was taking. A bunch of people kept on citing a book called Orientalism by Edward Said.
I'm very familiar with this.
So I was just like, okay, if this is coming up in the footnotes this frequently, that means it's that means I need to read it, or else I'm going to understand, or else I'm not going to struggle to understand the rest of these works. So I went and I read Orientalism. And then I was looking at the footnotes in Orientalism, because look at your footnotes, people. I was looking at the footnotes in Orientalism, and a book showed up there all the time called Archaeologies of Knowledge by Foucault.
Foucault,
yeah, Foucault. So I read Archaeologies of Knowledge, and then as I was reading Foucault, I noticed that in Archaeologies of Knowledge, there was a book that was cited there all the time, which was On the Use and Abuse of History by Wilhelm Friedrich Nietzsche. So I read that.
This is you're following the chain. There's a fun game that I think you might enjoy, which is, have you ever played the Wikipedia game?
I have. It's so good. It's wonderful. I love the Wikipedia game. Oh, I should add
finding things and how they link.
Yeah, I should. I wonder if I should add that to my doles. Like I do. I like doing the Wordle and the Redactyl on my stream a lot. I love Redactyl. Yeah, of course Alpine has. Yeah, Alpine rules.
Have you ever
shout.
Competed in a Wikipedia game?
I have not. I did compete in the evil version of the Wikipedia game.
What's the evil version?
The evil Wikipedia game. It's not even the evil version. It's just an evil Wikipedia game. You vandalize a Wikipedia article. And
that is evil. Why? What do you mean?
And you have a judge for the entire. You have like a group of like 50 people, and you have a judge, and everybody submits their change to the judge, and then whose ever change is the last one that gets fixed by editors is the winner.
Oh man, just pick something obscure.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad
Unfortunately.
game because like you like sometimes they last for like years.
No.
I did one where I just I noticed that somebody was using scare quotes in a way that was like that didn't make sense. So I added more scare quotes to make the sentence make even less sense. And then they didn't fix it. They just changed the scare quotes to make the sentence even more incoherent. So
Yippee, destroying knowledge actively.
yeah, it was. I think it was the phrase indiscriminate violence, and they put violence in quote marks, and it's like, what does this mean? Like, what are you doing?
Violence.
Like what?
Proverbially, violence.
So I put quotes around indiscriminate. So it's just
Indiscriminate violence.
Like,
Nothing means anything.
yeah, nothing means anything. It's like, what are we talking about here? And then like they put it in quotes, so it looked like it was a quote, and then people like trying to figure out like what source the quote was from. I feel bad for those editors. Like,
oh man.
I feel bad.
That's not the Wikipedia game I partake in. No.
No, it's, like I said, it's the evil one. It's the evil one.
That is yeah, definitely an evil one.
Yeah. So you said you've got about yeah. It looked like that, Babinka Bear. It looked like that. It was dreadful. It was dreadful. It was like a massacre or something. It was like not like it was like not coherent at all. Like it was not. It did not help at all. But yes. So you've got like half an hour left.
Perhaps yes.
So oh, hold on. Apologies, chat. I peeked them. They went a little high there. Okay. In the last second, I can't stop. No, this is it. Glad to be here. This is it. This is the 4.
Square's good.
The square's good.
We've got square.
This is it. So the question, I guess, is: we've got two things to go here. One is your personal journey, and the other is to talk about weirder topics in relationship to epistemology. Let's start with the personal journey, I guess. Do you feel like you've managed your crisis?
I do. Crisis was managed when I decided that my outlook for the world, my personal philosophy is, it can't get you if you're just silly about it.
Oh, okay.
That's how I treat everything.
Okay.
So if I am just silly about it, if I just decide with epistemology, with ontology, with all of that they are just silly things for me to use when it is funny for me to use them, when it is good for the bit, then they can't hurt me.
Okay.
That was my defense for it. Is that a good way to live your life? Maybe not. Humor as a defense, questionable.
I will say, like, particularly because like where we started with this, right, was this element of what is like this is practical stuff to know. Right, this is a practical kind of knowledge to have. Yeah, silly maxing as a cope.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, as they always say, you got to have a sense of humor, right?
Yeah.
You got.
So when it starts getting to a scope where I can't handle it anymore, like a lot of it is immensely practical to me, where it makes it easier for me to, as I attempt to learn language and attempt to, further my art education and all these things. Knowing a lot of this is very helpful because it helps inform how I'm going to intake information and all of that stuff. Very helpful. But when it stops being practical, I just have to be silly about it. If it stops being practical, I just have to look it in the eye and be like, you can't hurt me. You can't get me. I'm all the way up here. You can't get me.
Yeah, no, it's the part where this is really practical is kind of the stuff we said at the beginning, which is these are tools that can allow us to analyze how valid is what somebody else is telling us.
Yes.
And we actually did not talk on a topic in epistemology that I find really fascinating. Because in Enlightenment Western philosophy, it's not really treated as a very big deal. It was something that I only really understood as a big deal when I was studying Indian philosophy. Like Yogacara and stuff like that.
Okay.
That testimony. Testimony is a source of knowledge.
Okay.
So we've got our sources of knowledge from Hume, right? We've got our internal logic, right? And we've got our external evidence.
Yes.
We can think about things. We can use logic, and we can use facts. We've got facts and we've got logic.
Yes.
So So, EG,
Yes. Hello.
how do you know?
How do I know?
How do you know that the meds you take are the meds that you're taking?
Because a guy I trust told me.
Yes.
to.
Yep.
I trust the guy further than I can throw him.
Yeah.
And therefore, I believe he will not lead me astray. I say, as someone who has historically been given a blood pressure medication to treat anxiety, and I have low blood pressure.
Oh,
so,
no. Oh, my goodness.
Do with that what you will. That was a very strange time.
Oh, my goodness. That would be, oh, my goodness. That's awful. That's awful.
Sure, Mom found me in Twilight on the floor of the living room one day. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I can't move.
Oh my goodness. You have to like live your life upside down. Like you have to get like a special wheelchair where you're sitting on your back and your head's hanging below your heart in order to like live like that. Like that's awful.
Yeah, no. So my low blood pressure managed, but when I take a medication that was treating anxiety, but then for some reason also gives you low blood pressure, not managed. So that is the flaw in testimony, I think, that we are highlighting here.
I've had that happen. I've had that. So I should say, I've had medications like that where I've had anxiety meds that lowered blood pressure. I fortunately had high blood pressure at the time, so it was it just worked together. Which is now managed. Rairaku, it depends on their level of diligence.
I was 12.
Yeah, it depends on their level of diligence and aptitude and skill.
Yeah.
Doctors actually vary quite a bit.
Do that.
Well, I mean, you were 12. You were also not a doctor.
Yeah.
Your doctor should have looked at this.
Yes.
Because normally your doctors check your blood pressure every single time you go there because it's really easy to check. I can test my blood pressure right now. Like I've got a blood pressure
medication though, which is that some psychiatrists just don't. They're not required to. So if you have a psychiatrist who is not checking your blood pressure and checking your weight and things like that, you should look into another one or maybe bring that up with them.
Yeah.
Psychiatrists are doctors and they should act as such.
And that, like, there's hard tests and there's easy tests. Allergy tests are really hard, which is why they just ask you. Allergy testing is really hard, so they just ask you flat out, like, have you had any allergic reactions? But they don't bother asking you, like, how is your blood pressure high or low, because it's just so easy to test it. It literally takes 2 minutes. It's idiotically
They're not gonna stick
easy.
you with the ice cube tray every time they want to know about your allergies. That would also suck.
Yeah, no, but yeah, testimony is very important to how we live, particularly in the modern world, particularly like post-industrial revolution. We're really reliant on testimony as a source of practical knowledge. How do I know the subway train is running today? How do I know? Yeah, I hope you get some sleep, Selma. I hope we haven't ruined your life too badly.
Yeah, get some good snork memes.
This is how do we know this plane is not going to have the wings fall off? Et cetera, et cetera.
I don't feel like I know that anymore. I
was
feel
about to say,
the fact that is truth feels not as real to me now as it did 2 weeks ago.
It has been degraded substantially. We are living in the sky is in fact falling in the United States. It's I didn't expect it to be so literal. I did not expect it to be so on the nose. When people are like, "Oh, it's not like the sky is falling." It's like it literally, like,
is now.
very.
Now it is. They said it's not like the world's on fire, and then California decided to say, "What if yes? What if yes? The world was on fire?"
Yeah, so it's
There was a fire like an hour from me in a place where we've never had a forest fire ever before.
I remember getting we had a forest fire down like there was like last year, like in the fall or something. Like we had a forest fire in like just a couple miles outside of New York, and so like I remember like looking out.
Was that the? Oh wait, I guess that's more than a couple miles out of New York. There was one in Lehigh, PA, I think, where the whole mountain was on fire for a while. That was strange. I knew about that one because there's the steel plant there.
Yes.
Which is not a good reason to know about towns existing, I guess, but
yeah. Yeah, and like I remember like walking outside and like the sky is just like blood red, and it's like, man.
Oh wait, that one. That was the Canadian wildfires? That was abysmal.
Yeah. But yeah,
that was terrifying.
Yeah, we do if we were to go from Indian philosophy to Eastern philosophy, this would be very straightforward to interpret and parse within the knowledge system. which is that we have lost the mandate of heaven. So
No, come back, mandate of heaven, we need you.
So I'm not going to talk about what the canonical Confucian consequences of losing the mandate of heaven are,
Nope.
because I will. That one will actually get me in trouble for all of the things I've said here. That was one of the ones I should not say on stream. But
Let that one be.
I can come back to it later, and you guys can connect the dots on your own. I'll leave that as a conclusion to the readers.
We'll
but,
leave it open-ended.
Yeah. But the so I did bring up one for you that is an absolute nightmare of a piece of philosophy that I love, which is truth and lies in a non-moral sense. Did you get to read it?
Yeah. I read that one once upon a time, a long time ago.
It's fun.
And then I went back through some key parts of it. Is it fun?
I like it. It's Woody. Hi, Woody. Hi, Woody.
Hi.
We all love Woody here. Woody. Woody's very cool. Woody brought up a very cool point that I'm going to, even though Woody is not a Twitcher, Woody gets the shout out. The bespoke shout out.
Cool.
This
Coveted.
is Woody. Ambrosia figured it out.
Okay.
Ambrosia figured it out. Woody brought up the kind of interesting point that you don't die as a person. That the thing that experiences dying has no experiences.
Yep.
So the last thing you experience is before death. You cannot experience anything after that. The actual death itself is inexperienceable.
Yep.
I think this is neat.
It's an interesting thing to think about, because you always see those studies where they're like, we finally proved what it is like to die. That's not a provable thing. I don't think there's any way we can actually prove any of that.
No, because
all we're doing is, I think, taking testimony at that point, where we're hearing somebody who we think had a near-death experience that we can analyze and say, yeah, your heart did stop and did end.
Well, we're also making an analogy. We're making the assumption that the experience of death and the experience of near death are mappable.
Same.
Yeah, they're even the same. Yeah.
Yeah, Nietzsche's whole thing is that we love to accidentally distance things from the truth that they are by creating metaphors out of them to make them easier to understand. But because we do that so much, we end up making metaphors of metaphors, and we just get further and further away, and we end up in like simulation and simulacra territory, and it just becomes soup.
Well, I mean, in Ryan the Space God, like we can't prove that, right? It's there's a lot of reasons why we can't prove that. And yeah, glad to be your kind of hits on an important on what Woody was bringing up, but the Nietzschean point. I think you actually did a pretty good job of explaining it.
Thanks. I know this one.
So a leaf, right? You like, we use the word leaf, but each leaf is individually irreducibly unique.
Yep.
Each leaf is fully unique, and so to have a category that covers all leaves is itself intrinsically dishonest. Like yeah.
Yeah, I have a very specific thing about this, which is that this is a problem in mycology.
Ooh, yeah.
The way that we categorize things, very specific to me. Huge problem in mycology is the way that we categorize things based on observation or based on other senses, because we have assigned categories. And we do this as humans. We assign categories based on our own experiences. This is a weird tangent we're going to get into here a little bit. But essentially, we have assigned names to things based on our observations of them and their relationships to each other. But the problem is that in mycology, they kind of exist. We can't apply the same rules and logic to them as we do to others, like quadrants of life, the other kingdoms of life. So people will be like, oh, I love to say, oh, there's like 72 genders of mushroom. Mushrooms don't have gender. They don't reproduce in a way that necessitates that. People will say, oh, they have, they're sentient. Nah, I think that's a concept that goes beyond them. They exist outside of that. And then constantly, there's 70 different names for everything in mycology, because we are constantly learning accidentally that actually these two things that look totally different are actually the exact same thing. They're the same guy. They're just presenting differently or doing different things. And
one of them is at work and one of them is at home.
It's worse. Yes. All of our attempts at categorizing mushrooms actually makes mycology worse, unfortunately.
it rules. Mycology rocks.
It does rock. And it's so confusing. I learned today that the species that I am is actually not related to other inky caps. I've screwed up. I've goofed up.
Incredible.
I picked the one that, despite being named Caprinus comatus, is not actually Caprinus, but it keeps the name. Why? We're putting it in categories, and it makes it worse.
And it's well, I mean, like we need some sort of taxonomy in order to like make any sort of sense of the world. But oh my god, like we need to
but we are making it worse by every time we try and assign terms to it, we actually get further away from what it actually is, and every time we try and redefine it, it just makes it more confusing because we keep the precedent of the past. Nisha, you're right.
yeah, hell yeah. EG already has the identity crisis. Yeah,
I do. It already happened. It happened today.
New identity crisis every day. Every day.
Identity crisis.
This is why it was so dangerous to choose to be a mushroom VTuber. Of all of the things you could have chosen, like you really chose like the hardest one to describe. Like
it's the worst one. I am more distantly related to other mushrooms of the same species than you are to dinosaurs.
It's great.
This is a nightmare. It's fantastic. Our genealogy tree is a circle. How's that work?
I also really love that humans are more closely related to mushrooms than they are to plants. I always find that fun.
Is that one true? I didn't know that one.
It's
Really?
pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Oh no. What?
It sucks. Hold on, let me find up the I had a resource for this. Phylogeny facts.
Place of the real aliens. Well, they've decided that there is a current crazy move being made, which is that slime molds might actually, I don't know if this went over yet, slime molds might get their own kingdom, because they have been found to be so different from every other form of life that they used to be considered fungi, because fungi is where we stuck all the weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a good place. Yeah, slime molds might get their own kingdom. This was a thing that was in discussion about 5 years ago. I had a friend who was a mycology professor. Mm-hmm. Her field of research was in delineations of slime molds, because the problem with slime molds also is that they're too different from each other sometimes to be realistically categorized even together. But they're so different from mushrooms that it doesn't... what do we do with them? Where do we put them? We can't put them in categories. We put them in categories and limit them. By categorizing things, we limit them. And that's a hard way of understanding the world, because things exist without limits. How are we to superimpose our beliefs on things, on objects? They exist.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So here's the one that I was on the list of like phylogenetic facts ranked by how disturbing they are.
Oh, nice! This sounds like a great thread to read. Can I just have the whole thread?
I'll just give you the whole thing. The entire blog that this is from is pretty good.
Hell yeah!
Where's our DMs? There's our DMs.
Give me evil phylogeny facts.
And I'll put it in the. Oh nope! I screwed up there.
Oh, that's okay.
There we go. The most distressing one is that salps are chordates, which is awful. Salps are like weird plankton jellies, but it turns out they have a central nervous system.
Oh, okay. So they're feeling it. They're feeling it for real then.
Yeah, it sucks.
Sucks to be them.
It's awful. It's awful. Ryan wants to know about Nietzsche, because Nietzsche does cover an enormous number of things.
Oh, yeah, we were tangenting here.
Yeah.
Nietzsche has a lot of thoughts that I think are very important.
Nietzsche, it's also worth noting that Nietzsche has different eras and approaches, and different people have different opinions about what's the important Nietzsche.
Yeah. If you look at Nietzsche on Wikipedia, I think a third of his thing is people trying to disprove him more than it is actually.
Oh my god, people really
like to pick him apart.
Yeah, people hate some things that he said that I don't think actually even need that much scrutiny. I don't even think they demand scrutiny.
Some of them I'm just like, yep, bet, I see, yep.
Yeah, Mushi Salp. Salp.
Yeah, not salt.
Yeah, salt. So Nietzsche has has multiple kind of careers over the course of his life, and his late career he's just flat out mystical. Like he's just flat out a mystic. Borax is largely on the same kind of page as I am. I prefer his relatively early work. His early work, he's just doing like commentary on Greek drama, which is highly respectable. but also not that interesting to me. And then he gets into like a more general philosophy, and that's where stuff like Thoughts Out of Season comes in, which is archaeologies of use and abuse of history for life, and truth and lies in a non-moral sense, which is the one that we were talking about.
Yeah.
I think this stuff is interesting and cool. And then later on you get into stuff like Thus Spake Zarathustra and what's the other one? Ecce Homo. Those ones are like surreal and highly sarcastic. And so
that's a good combo.
Yeah, it's Ecce Homo is a very challenging book to interpret because it is a German doing poetry in a 19th century style where he's like shit posting and sarcastic all the time. So it's really hard to keep track of like when he's just like telling something that he thinks is true.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
How do we know things are true?
How do we know things are true? And like what percentage of what drill says is true?
Yeah. Can I get a tone indicator on that?
Yeah.
Please.
So like there's a part of Ecce Homo. There's a section of Ecce Homo titled "Why I Am the Healthiest Man Ever."
I'm sure you are. I have no doubts about that. If
for
there
people
were one, it'd be him.
It's worth knowing for people who don't know if you don't know anything about Nietzsche. One of the biographical facts about Nietzsche is that Nietzsche had such incredibly shitty health his whole life that he could not hold down a job as a lecturer.
Which is not to say, as far as standards go, you can unfortunately sit to be a lecturer.
Yeah.
Under most circumstances. There's a lot of things that being a lecturer is generally considered to be relatively accommodating, even historically.
And he didn't. And this was like an old school lecture. He didn't actually even have to present his own ideas. He had to read from a book.
No.
He was a very sickly man. He spent most of his life in some sort of convalescent care or another. He's writing like that. He kind of expects you to know that he is very ill when he is saying that he's like being sarcastic in a very specific kind of way. And so, the very famous one, the most famous Nietzsche quote, "God is dead. God is dead and we have killed him. How do we live with ourselves, O murderers of murderers?" He's not talking about God in a metaphysical sense at all. Like he's just not. It's just not what what that's about. He's talking about the collapse of religious thought as a form of government legitimacy, and like the rise of nationalism. He's talking about like he's not talking even about like his own opinion. He's just saying like I'm looking around me and observationally, the church does not have the ability to topple kings.
Pour one out for God.
Pour one out.
I don't even know if he's saying that. I don't know if he's saying to pour one out for him either. He's just saying it just isn't like that anymore.
Yeah, it's just not like that, and it just hasn't been like that for a while, and we haven't figured out what the consequences are for further political organization.
Yeah.
Because like this is, and like if you read it with significant context, it's actually kind of obvious because he's talking about like alternative forms of government. Alternative forms of government and like how much he hates anti-Semites and stuff like that. It's
obvious to us because we're talking about it in this context. People usually quote it completely without any context, in which case they just take it for face value. Which to most people is God, the guy you think of usually when we say God, is dead. He's been killed. We've murdered him.
Yeah. It's often taken in a very literal sense. And like it doesn't help that like Nietzsche has very negative opinions on Christianity. Nietzsche has very negative opinions on almost every conservative thought on the planet. Nietzsche has negative thoughts on almost every progressive thoughts on the planet. He's just a curmudgeonly bastard.
He decided that everything's his problem, unfortunately.
Yeah, he hates Plato. He hates Kant.
Understandable, honestly. Ultimate hater,
Ultimate hater, yeah. He's a
Kant was also a hater. Don't get
Kant was also a hater. I have less sympathy for the things that Kant hates. Because one of the big
celebrate the hater nature of Nietzsche, but not others.
Yeah, Kant, one of Kant's big hatreds is black people, so it's a little bit hard to like be that. Yeah, so a long-term friend with disability, with chronic exhaustion, loves Nietzsche. Nietzsche is I actually really like Nietzsche in a lot of ways because he's really fun to read. Other philosophers are really... Kant, for example, horrible to read.
Not fun to read.
Not fun to read. The least fun person to read. Germans read Kant in English because he's even worse without the translation. You want to add extra mediating layers. That is doing a Nietzsche where we're taking things steps away from their initial truth. Yeah.
But we're doing it on purpose because we literally cannot follow him otherwise.
Yeah.
He's just so much worse.
He's so much worse. Nietzsche is very much the thing that makes Nietzsche particularly enthusiastic to me is as a gamer. From a gamer perspective, I really like Nietzsche.
Oh yeah, give us the gamer perspective.
Yeah, he's got the gamer perspective. So Nietzsche's vision of happiness, Nietzsche's version of joy, the way that he thinks that like we accomplish joy and that we live good lives, is by encountering obstacles and overcoming them. He's a gamer. He's a gamer. He doesn't want to have full unfettered creative access. He wants to have challenges that he overcomes with his tools. He wants to be presented.
Challenges is what makes things feel worthwhile. It's why when you turn the cheats on in Minecraft, it stops being fun.
Yeah, you're playing a different game when you're cheating in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like you're doing something different. Like it's like I've said before. Like it's a. His vision of joy is loot boxes and DLC. No. Yeah.
Get that man a Game Boy.
His vision of joy is speedrunning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he'd be a speed. He would appreciate the beauty of speedrunning. I don't know if he would himself be a speedrunner, but he would appreciate the beauty of it.
Yeah. Throw yourself against the wall until you figure out how to not do it and how to perfect it.
Yeah.
All problem solving.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's the he's also if Alpian's still here, big philosophy for lifting. Great philosophy for lifting. The joy is not in that you lifted the big weight. The joy is in the strain in the muscle. In the overcoming what you couldn't have overcome before.
It's the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. No, Alpine gets it. Yeah, it's not about having lifted up a heavy thing. It's about what you did to your body and to yourself to get to lift the heavy thing. So I find Nietzsche pretty sympathetic. Also insane. Not gonna lie, completely insane.
Yeah.
Totally insane. Often impractical. Frequently wrong.
When you said fun earlier, I was more so thinking about the fact that he leads me down the thread of impracticality, unfortunately, where I was like, that's not fun, but he is very good to read if I'm looking at it through my personal framework of it can't hurt me because I'm silly.
I can think about Kant in gamer terms. He's just not the type of gamer I am, which might again be part of me not being sympathetic to Kant. Kant is a big believer in universalizing explanations, and truths that And so from his perspective, the type of gamer that Kant is the type of person who thinks that the most important thing for a game to be is balanced.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is really proving your understanding of not just Kant, but also gamers. That's fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
Because you're right.
Yeah, right.
You're right.
He's the person who's making the argument that the most important thing is that he's not just an Overwatch player. He's a person who is really mad about small balance changes in Overwatch.
Yes, he is. He knows how the game should be, and he's gonna find the route to make the game be the way that he decides the game should be.
I say that this is partially because I know a guy who is extremely like this. Who he's an old friend of mine from college. I've talked about him a few times on here just because he's really funny to me because he's very alien. Oh, we got raid.
Hello. Hi, Naomi. Welcome in.
Welcome in, Naomi.
Hello. Oh, there's shimp raving. Can we get like a little
I mean, yeah, somebody give the invincible. Ryan the Space God, thank you for the sub.
Welcome in. I hope you had a good stream. I hope you're ready for crises.
Yeah. We've done the most miserable parts already. And now we're kind of discussing the fun applications of it, which is like these philosophers as gamers.
Philosophers as gamers!
Yeah.
You should actually write something about this, because I think that would make it so much more approachable and enjoyable to people who do not want to interact with it. That's an in.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, this is the thing. This is what I was saying earlier about depth. That like deep things are deeply grounded. They're deeply underneath everything else around us, and so like you wind up at the deep things even unintentionally.
You have to assign gamers to all of them, unfortunately.
So if Kripke is somebody who I'm not super familiar with, because Kripke,
I would say I don't know him well enough to.
I mostly know him as a commentator on Wittgenstein. And the way that I kind of see, and so there's a kind of infamous thing where Kripke is kind of infamous for interpretations of Wittgenstein that don't actually follow from Wittgenstein, and they're called Kripkensteins. As a joke about his name. And so to me, that strikes me as a person who makes Dark Souls lore videos.
Oh, Khan's such a bigot. I would assume he would, like, imbalance things. No. The universe revolves around him in a balanced world. In a balanced world, the universe revolves around every single individual person, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, no,
it's the whole thing where it's equality versus equity.
Yeah.
He believes in equality, not equity.
Well, and I mean, he would... I mean, this is the thing also, is that, like, when you read Kant's thoughts on race and anthropology, it honestly sounds like a completely fucking different person. It sounds completely different. Like he's writing in the same style, and like so like you know that it is the same person, but like he's just not applying remotely close to the same kind of scrutiny to his own biases about white supremacy as he is to anything else on the goddamn planet. And that is a frequent factor in a lot of really annoying gamer piss babies, is that they're willing to be extremely scrutinizing about like drop tables, and then they will not apply any level of scrutiny to like, why do I believe that there were only white people in the Middle Ages, even though we have tons of evidence of black people in Europe in the Middle Ages?
There you go. Yeah, he is a capital G gamer.
You could absolutely make a Kantian style argument about why white people should be allowed to say slurs. Like, you absolutely could do that. That would not be...
That is a thing that's possible.
That is a thing
I'm not going to advise it, however.
I'm not going to advise it, but his ideas about universality would absolutely land you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's okay for them to say it, it should be okay for me to say it. That's yeah. It's actually very fast. I kind of did it right there.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of gamers who believe that too, that are of that kind we're talking about. Oh no, we cannot introduce Kant to them. That would not be a good move.
I mean, at least it would waste a lot of their time.
True. If they're busy trying to understand him, maybe they won't be busy making it hell for me to try and play any kind of competitive game.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But yes, anyway, so I'm trying to think about like who other ones. Like Nietzsche's an obvious one, because Nietzsche's such like a guy focused on challenge. Diogenes is clearly a troll. like he's clearly a grafer. Like obviously. Yes. I like Diogenes a lot, but also I would not like to play games with him. I would not.
No, he is the guy who's gonna do everything for a bit. He's gonna hear what you say, and he's gonna turn around and do the exact thing to make your life ever so slightly harder in what you're doing in the game. He is going to love a sandbox multiplayer game. I promise.
Oh yeah. Hume, I'm not sure about, because Hume's mostly just kind of a chill guy who likes the immediate experience. So like, I don't want to comment on him too much, because I think I relate to him too much in this way, because like that's how I have 3,500 hours in Warframe. Is the, like I would put
him as like almost like a real-time simulation person, but I don't know.
Real-time simulation. I think you would just like any game that has like the right texture is like if it feels good on a minute to minute. So like I could see him being a person who's played 8 million hours of Balatro.
Yes. Yeah. See. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, or like somebody who's gotten like intensively into like accidentally like Dwarf Fortress or something.
Yeah, Dwarf Fortress. I could see him being a person who just like has leveled every single class in Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, like there's a lot of options here. I can't see him being a super competitive guy. Stardew was actually my very first thought. I was
also thinking that. I was like, that'd be too easy. That's too easy. I gotta
go
obvious.
A little. Yeah, we gotta add some more texture here. But I could definitely see him getting into like again, like any game that's not very challenging and not very competitive but has an internal mechanism
that he can dissect and understand, and therefore, I don't want to say optimize, but like, dissect and understand, not optimize, but like, participate in, because it is nice to follow things that we can understand, or that,
Once again, just describing me. Just describing me.
There, I see that.
Yeah. Diogenes plays Empty Jar in Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
just
boy.
ignores the bans list in Yu-Gi-Oh! He plays League of Legends but doesn't cooperate with his own team. Yeah,
His own thing over sweats. Yeah.
Plato is obviously like the guy who plays board games and tells everyone else what to do. Like he's a backseater. He's he's the backseater.
Yeah.
He's the guy who's like playing he's playing co-op games and quarterbacking all the time, just being super
God,
annoying.
I have to draw these men as gamers now.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I can keep on coming up with
now.
them. I can keep on working on this.
Oh boy, this is a fruitful idea, I would say. I think this is how we make
actually, hold on.
philosophy presentable.
I'll talk about this with you afterwards. When we close up shop. You have to get going soon, don't you? We're like over time.
I do a little bit. I got to hang out with my partner came home.
Okay.
We got to hang.
Jubby, right?
Yes, Joby.
Jubby.
They were asking if you were Joby when I started streaming. I was like, nope, this does not sound anything like Joby. They've heard Joby's voice, and you guys sound very different. You're
I'm not Joby.
30% less manic.
That's pretty believable. That's pretty pretty believable. That's pretty believable. Yeah, I am not I'm not Joby. So
where were you going? You had a thread though.
Well, I was thinking that this is really fun. I would love to do this again sometime, but I think we might be at time to pull the plug.
Pull the plug. Can I just have one little bit in here, which is not even directly. This is more just general philosophy, a thing that became important when we're talking about Dream with Descartes was simulacra and simulation, because this is just one of those things that I like to insert in a conversation whenever I can. Just make it everyone's problem that things like blue raspberry, Sour Patch Kids, C4, which is an energy drink, is a thing that exists.
Right, yes.
If we're talking about things existing or not.
Mm-hmm.
How do we objectively discuss the existence of that? Because it is a chain of several objects that at its source is not something that's observably true or real.
My real strong
help.
Yeah, no, the Baudelaire reference. Yep, Borax Sniffer gets it. I remember being provoked in this when I was in Japan, and we were getting some shaved ice, and they had Hawaiian blue.
Yeah.
Hawaiian blue shaved ice.
What does that mean?
And
like
me,
tiger's eye shaved ice?
And like me and the guy I was with, like we were just like, and we asked this poor old man, poor old man in Kyoto, gomen desu ka? Hawaiian blue wa dono aji desu ka? What sort of flavor is Hawaiian blue? And he just goes, aoi desu. It's blue. Like, it's just blue. And he was right. He was right. It just tastes like blue.
It does taste blue. Yeah.
It's blue.
Yeah, purple has a flavor. All these have things. But this is both, we're getting some Descartes and some Nietzsche of how does that make sense as a descriptor? We've given a descriptor that clearly makes sense to us somewhere on some level, but it actually contains nothing.
Well, and
it actually does not convey.
Yeah. When my stretch goal for this, which we got to like for like a second, was Japanese is my second language. I'm very bad at it. Don't oversell my Japanese knowledge. I'm working on getting it back, but it's still quite poor. My stretch goal was Wittgenstein. Wittgenstein's a really fun philosopher who was active in the early 20th century. He was a veteran of World War I. He served he miraculously survived serving in the Austro-Hungarian army in World War I. He managed to make it out of that. And he has two totally distinct phases to his philosophy career. In one phase of his philosophy career, he writes the Tractatus, which is this incredibly dense tome on how words relate to each other. And it's like the book for an entire philosophical movement around the idea that all language can be turned into pure, complete logic, that we can communicate with pure logic that is totally lossless.
Ah.
And then he goes into the mountains for like a decade and just
Oh, good.
and
Yeah.
like fucks around, and he's like building houses, and he's apparently a really bad elementary school teacher, and stuff like that. And then he comes back to Vienna, and people are like, "Oh wow, your book is like life changing." Like 10 years later, your book has been life changing. You're like one of the most important philosophers of our age. He gets shipped off to Oxford, and his entire thesis defense is just that book. He doesn't do any coursework or anything. He just like shows the book, and he's like, I'm a philosopher. And Bertrand Russell is one of his interrogators, and he just slaps Bertrand Russell on the back and says, "Don't worry, chaps, you'll never understand it," inside his own defense, and he gets his fucking PhD from Oxford.
No.
What an insane character. And then he becomes a teacher at Oxford, and then he just proceeds to teach the exact opposite for the rest of his career.
Power move, if there ever was one.
Yeah,
I would
complete
say.
180 on his philosophy to language is a game. Language is a game that we play, and communication is achieved if mutually satisfactory goals are reached by the members who are playing it. So an early example from his lectures, he didn't write any more books. People just took down lecture notes and then published lecture notes as a book called Philosophical Investigations, was you go to a store, right? You go to a general store, and it's an old-timey general store where you've got all this stuff behind you. And there's some apples behind the shopkeeper. And you point at the apples, and you say, 2, please. And the clerk picks up 2 apples and puts them on the counter and says, this was back in the 30s, says, "That'll be 15 cents. And you hand him 15 cents, and you walk away with an apple and with 2 apples, and the shopkeeper has 15 cents, and so on and so on. These are not complete sentences.
No.
These are grammatically wrong. Like, these aren't even
in every way.
This is like nonsense. This is, if you just broke it down to its linguistic components, this is a fever dream, but
This is
it's
a
also
mystery.
Yeah.
It's all context.
This is all stuff that we do every day. Clearly we're capable of doing it. And so, like, if your philosophy cannot handle something that a guy who is hungry for apples can handle, like, you've done something wrong. Like, you have done something wrong.
Albin, that is my entire approach to Italian.
Yeah.
I have what I call survival. I know enough words and enough hand gestures. I can achieve all of my goals, pretty much. Do I know what people are saying back to me? Most of the time, not really. But all we need is to mutually comprehend ourselves, and then the language is functioning all the more it needs to.
Yeah, because language is communication. Language is not... The other philosophy is that language is a snapshot of reality, and he was saying, no, it's not. It's a tool for communicating between peoples.
Yeah.
Kaneko Bunny, bringing it back to one of the things that me and you say almost every stream. You learn a lot by teaching.
Yes, we do. Yeah. You learn a lot because you can't teach a thing if you don't understand the thing, or you'll try to, and then you'll feel really silly when you're trying to explain it to a bunch of children. You have to really thoroughly, in every way, shape, or form, understand something through and through. And that forces you to learn more than your students have learned.
Yeah.
Stay on your toes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh. Okay, this has been amazing. This has been amazing. Pre-Wolf Issa, thank you for the follow.
My closing thought is, you should apply logic to candles one day.
You should apply logic to candles. Absolutely.
Candle sense.
Absolutely.
Just think about them. Think about the candle scents that exist out there. A lot of them can be somehow, I believe, placed on this chart we even have before us here of what are these? Is this a candle that we can observe existing, the thing that it's relating to? Or is this just a totally metaphysical thing? Is this a concept that we've turned into a smell? There's a lot of philosophy to be had in the way candle scents are made for some reason.
It's great.
It's very strange. Oh, no.
Oh.
Well, what is philosophy to a god? What is a god to a non-believer?
Oh, yeah, we got the ladders. We got ladders. We're ladder maxing.
We are ladder maxing. I am also height maxing now. I get to take up the whole screen. It's very exciting for me to end this way.
Still shorter than me because of how I set up the screens.
How could you? I don't even know what we look like right now to anyone on your side.
You are very small, which shouldn't surprise you because you're often.
That is
small.
how it. Yeah. That is just the way life is.
I like to have a I like to try to do canonical heights on my streams, and me and EG have decided that this is not the way.
Physically impossible.
Because EG is like
not worthwhile.
EG is the height of my nose, roughly.
Yeah, if I go like here, we can have EGception. This is the smallest I can be, and I can't even. This isn't small enough for how big I have you. It just doesn't work.
No, it's
I can't get small enough. It's because of the field of view. EGception, sorry.
Yeah, no, this is well, we may as well explain the joke for the folks who might not know. EG does character design as their main like arts that they teach and critique. And one of those rules in character design is that if you can draw on the person a ladder that looks safe to climb, you have not made it visually interesting enough.
That's such a succinct explanation of it. That's way more succinct than my explanation of it. Good work.
I'm pretty good at this. I'm not going to lie. 20 plus years of teaching got me pretty good at...
You got a couple more of those than I do. Yeah. I tend to be a little wordy, but yeah, we want our ladders dangerous. Therefore, if you make offerings of ladders to me, they are taken favorably, especially if they're dangerous. OSHA does not like me. They fear me. They see me in the back of the Home Depot lurking. I'm always watching.
Yeah, Alpine. People who didn't know I was I was a VTuber, but just knew that I was interested in VTubing, sent me EG videos. As like a
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I found you because I was like, you have good character design, and I was like, hell yeah, this fellow's got good character design. And then
yeah. I've already put it out here once, but once again, and it should post to yours because this is the workaround for posting links inside other people's chats. Is oh, it didn't go through because that was in my chat. In my chat. Boo. I have to do it in my chat. I did the auto command in my chat, so you can see I did not design my own model. I am not a character designer. My designer is Sensational.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
We got it.
There we go. Yeah, Sensational is my artist and designer, and he's amazing. He's really fun to work with. He has raised prices considerably from when I worked with him. I paid like $300. I think it now goes for $900.
Understandably so.
Yeah, understandable. Understandable, but he's really easy to work with. He's really good.
But you had good mood boards.
I did have good mood boards. I really need to make a link to that.
The thing.
I've got it on Blue Sky these days. No, I'm chunky. I'm chunky. I'm not jacked. I'm chunky. I'm a big boy.
I accidentally made you jacked, I fear, for your Nomai, but that's because the Nomai look jacked.
I don't think you particularally did. I'm still wearing like a spacesuit. It's not like obvious what my body shape is.
They just have visible pecs through their suits, and I gave you that, but then I was like, wait.
Yeah, I just think that's a suit. Like we do that all the time. We do that all the time. But yeah, I did do a good mood board. And I made a shareable version of it that people can use for their own purposes.
Mood board.
But yes.
Almantas cameo in something I'm doing.
Ooh. I
accidentally went live at like 11 p.m. For a rant for one of my next videos, and that is related to you being there. We're gonna not draw any conclusions based on that. But topics of art and references and unique design and all of those things.
Yeah, Nomai is in reference to Outer Wilds. I'll bring up the image again.
Yes.
It is...
I have it, but it's not here. Hang on.
Ooh, it's so big. Transform, fit to screen. Yeah, this is they drew this of me. I
have taken over. Hello, I'm here. This is what I drew for people who are on my side. And yes, I am the talking foothead. I am so sorry. We are trapped this way. Yeah, you're right. I now that I'm looking at it again, I think I did okay. I don't think I think I respected the proportioning properly.
Yeah, no, I think that's just the clothing that they wear is just designed to make them look jacked. Like we've got armor that does that historically. Like that's historically attested to. We've got it. Like people do that. It's people try to make themselves look pretty. Like it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
that's
fine.
True.
Yeah, I did an Outer Wilds playthrough a few months ago in late 2024, and me and EG that was our first collab. That was me and EG's first collab.
Yeah, we talked about it. I showed up and was like, wow, I like this game.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I love Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds, particularly getting to play it on stream was really fun, and getting to talk about like the archaeology of it and like the art history of it was really fun. It was really good.
Yeah, oh, we're using all of our redeems right here, right at once.
Oh, they're cracking through. They're cracking through.
Right here, right now. They can tell that we're winding down, and they're like, "Quick, spend your money! Quick, torture EG before so that they're not safe." Oh wait, now hang on, I can be like almost cannon height now. Look at that.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm debating how much I want to keep this going because I've got like another hour or two of juice left in me.
I have to go.
I know you have to go. I know you have to go.
Things.
I know you have to go.
Oh, are you gonna stay live? Is what you're saying?
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
So then I could just raid into you? Question mark? Does that work?
That does work. That does work.
I'm
going to run. I'm actually going to run ads and use the bathroom while I make that decision. But I'll be right back.
Okay, I will do my closing thoughts then. I will do all of my housekeeping.
Yes.
Nice. I will stand here perched very well on Almantas' shoulder. Ads be upon ye. Lug Hyena, thank you for following. Ruby Caribou, thank you for following. There were also, I feel bad. Wow. I don't want to interrupt ever, but Xanadu, also thank you for following. We hit a follower goal, also thank you. All of Almantas' fellas, and also my shroommates also thank you. Who else did I miss here? Lance and Billy, thank you guys for resubscribing. I appreciate it. Matthew Rice Seeker, also thank you for following. Housekeeping, because I probably will be ending very shortly after Almantas comes back, and I will deliver you all to Almantas to continue talking philosophy, theoretically. Me, EG, I'll be back here again tomorrow. I will be doing things, we'll be making horrible e-cards for Valentine's Day. You guys like puns? I know this. I saw it today to be a reality. Bring them. We're making terrible ones. And then, also, things. If you would like a cursor that looks like me and bounces a little bit, we have cursors on Ko-fi you can have, ! Ko-fi. Also have a Discord server where we do things like extra credit and funny little like almost homework adjacent assignments that are art related. If you interest, then you are welcome to. But those are my things. This was fun. I do have a lot of crises. Oh, this is not here. Hi, Jazzahole.
We got raiders.
Hello.
Okay. Hey, Jazzahole.
Welcome in.
All right, Jazzahole. Let me get the
foot raid. Wild. Oh, you just missed it. I was boothead. I had a whole foot as my head a second ago.
Yeah.
Welcome in.
Yeah. Oh, Maelstro, thank you for the follow. Lugina, thank you for the follow. Xanadu, thank you for the follow. Rucarbo, thank you for the follow. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's all the people I missed.
There you go.
Yeah. Spin EG, absolutely. Spin that EG. Yes.
Spin that EG while you can.
Yeah, the 12 inches of rating. Yes. So I missed your closing thoughts.
My closing thought was just me giving my housekeeping. But my closing thoughts here were my advice. Do look into philosophy. It is good. There is things to be learned in there that will make you more defensible in your daily life. That will make you less gullible and less likely to fall for things in a dangerous sense. It's very good for keeping your like mental plasticity, which is a thing that I think is a very modern struggle we're having younger and younger. People talk about losing their ability to have longer focal attention spans and things like that. If you do things like researching philosophy and stuff like that, it is very helpful for expanding those types of things. Giving you reasons to be skeptical without going overboard. And it is good for your brain health. Good for your skin.
It's good for your skin.
I'm just gonna give you a totally false claim. It's good for your skin, good for your hair, good for your nails. Take your vitamins, but do put philosophy in your vitamins.
Do put philosophy in your vitamins. Yes, absolutely. It's this stuff. It's honestly kind of funny how much I was told when I was younger from like TV shows and stuff that like, oh, this is like the most impractical stuff on the planet.
Yeah, they really make it out to be so dense and horrible.
And it's turned out to be incredibly practical, to be honest. It's turned out to be incredibly useful. It's because what philosophy is fundamentally, underneath all of it, philosophy is the study of the most basic building blocks of knowledge. That's what it actually is. And so I don't even know what else to say as a defense of that. Like, that feels like a good enough pitch of that. It's like learning $1 worth of philosophy is $100 worth of science in the long run. Like, you can absolutely spend way too much time studying it. You can waste your time with it. You can study parts of it that is deleterious to your mental health, blah, blah, blah. But giving yourself a nice little 101, 201 level understanding of it is a really good grounding.
Yes.
Can you explain the EG needs to get going.
Yeah, once I pass you all to Almantas, then you can do definitions.
I think we'll do. I'll keep on going for a little bit longer. I do eventually have other job tonight, but I will keep it going for a little bit longer, and we can do some more like QA, one-on-one QA stuff on my side. I will keep track of that though. I have not lost your question. Glad to be here. But I will answer that in a few minutes.
Yay! The philosophy does not end here. Just because EG has to do things like I did eat a little before I started stream, but I do need to eat dinner and hang out with my Joby.
Yeah, hang out with Joby. Hi to Joby from all of us.
Yeah, we'll say hi.
Yeah.
But
all right.
I am going to send everyone over to you. Thank you all for humoring me. Oh, your background looks nice for this.
Thank you.
Now seeing because I'm in the raid overlay. Wow, I'm really little.
Yeah. I could have made you littler. I could continue.
I made myself like humanly scaled in proportion to you, but you did not go for that. But thank you all for having me, and thank you for fielding my crises with care and delicacy, as I told you all to just be silly about it.
Of course.
But I will see all of you who are maybe here tomorrow. Almantas, I will see you around.
Yes, you will. You will. And I will DM you about something. I might actually just send the DM right now, but we've got something to talk about offline, but we'll do it later. All right.
Okay. 07.
07.
But thank you, fellas. I'm sending you to Almantas now. We can still forcibly do a raid message. We should still rotate at Almantas anyway. And be evil about that. Yeah. Ever's got them. Let's take the guns and rotations over there. Oh, my chat is moving too fast and I can't copy my own raid message.
Oh no.
There we go. Got it. Okay. Bye for real now. Rating. Wow. How does this work though? Because here, we'll
see what happens. You should still be here, right? You'll still be able to hear you. Wow, huge raid! Welcome in, raiders. Welcome in, Squeegee. It's so nice to see you. What were you doing, Squeegee?
We're still here.
What were you doing?
Still here.
What were you doing, Squeegee? Let's give you the shout out. You were just chatting. How was the chat? Chat
was fantastic. It was lovely. I'm feeling way better about my understanding of reality and my place there within, and about what things are useful and what things are not. So much so that I'm going to eat dinner. And
yes, absolutely. One of those things that you can definitely know is that you are hungry.
That's true. I am real. I know that much. And I also know that because I'm real, that means I can know things like the fact that I am hungry.
Yes. Enjoy your dinner. Dinner.
Thank you.
Love to Jubby. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for hanging out. Bye, fellas.
Goodbye. Okay. Are they still in the call? I can't actually see that. Okay, they are. Okay, and I'll kill the collab tab. So welcome in, Raiders. Domain expansion. Yushiki, thank you for the follow. Borax Sniffer, thank you for the follow. I can start acting like a normal streamer again, which means that I get to talk at rapid fire pace about all the people who just came in. Hello, Mubot. Hello, Zone Kami. Hello, Alive Thirst. Hello, Ambrosia Honeypot. Hello, of course, to EG. Hello, Xanadu. Hello, Handion. Hello, Starina Hart. Hello, Babinka Bear. Hello, Borax Sniffer. Matthew has been here the whole time. Hello, Jade's Workshop. Obviously, hello, Alive to Thrive. Already did that. Hello, Nikto Arts. Hello, Tilted Over. Hello. Oh, I think I caught up. And I'm sock. Thank you, Matthew, for the sock. So, I love the sock. The sock is so good. And if people, I didn't get to show this off while EG was here. I should have. I really should have. I really should have. So, let me set this up. Little bit of setup here. So, for people who are watching my side of the stream, so this window grab was on the other side of the stream, but I did also have my hand cam up briefly, because I was trying to demonstrate something with my hands. And Sakmantas real. Sakmantas is real. I have a real physical Sakmantas to accompany my model. My Sakmantas model. Yeah, made by the same person. They're both made by Lady Saffron. Yeah, they're both made by Lady Saffron. Yeah, real. Sakmantas real. It's so good. Hello, another gaze. I'd say trying to study with philosophy in the background is not very effective. I don't doubt that. And hello, Kit Williams. Good to see you. Yeah. I love it. I love my Sakmantas. I try to keep him clean because I do not know how well he's going to clean up. I'm pretty sure he will die in the washing machine, but for the moment, he's fine. Yes. We're going to go back to looking at charts, though. Yeah, I love the sock Mantas. I love the sock Mantas so much. Yeah, both are by Lady Saffron, who's a Paradox streamer over on YouTube. She does mostly Europa Universalis. She's super funny. She's super smart. And she makes sock puppet models. And they go over very well. People like them. People like them. But yes, so glad to be here. Shortly before the raid, glad to be here. Asked me to explain Kant's categorical imperative. Oh, there you are. There you are. I put him away, but yeah. You get to demand sock, Saf, because you're the mother. Or I guess you're the model father in this case. Strange. Yeah. So you wanted me to explain the categorical imperative and how it's different from deontology. Saf, we've been having a very philosophy-heavy stream. This is actually stuff that you know pretty well, so if you want to jump in, I would not. I would not be opposed. But yeah, so we were explaining Hume, Kant, Descartes, and the question of how do we know things. And different models of knowledge. You have oh yes, you do have deadlines. You do have deadlines. Complete those deadlines. You have a lot of deadlines. You have a lot of deadlines, dear friend. So get through those deadlines. Get through those deadlines. I'm just in collab brain mode. I love collabing. But yes, so the let's fit you a little bit better. There we go. That's a better fit. So the categorical imperative is a statement by Kant that if you do something morally, you should only, from a moral stance, from a moral evaluation stance, when you take actions, you should choose actions that would be universally good actions. They would be good if anybody else did them. That you should do things that, if everyone else in the entire universe acted the same way as you, it would be a good universe. That's the core of it. That's the core of it, is that anything you do should be universally a good action. I wouldn't call it ethical emotivism. I would not call that ethical emotivism. I would call it a type of deontology. So glad to be here. Ask, how is that different from deontology? Deontology is a really, really really hard sounding term. But deontology is I'm going to make it even worse for a second, and then I'll make it better. Deontology is a meta-ethical stance. Okay, that sounds really bad. It's a meta-ethical stance. And what I mean there is that it isn't a stance for any particular ethic. It is a stance for what ethics should look like in general. It is not a stance on, like, murder. It's a stance on how do you say murder is wrong. So, murder is wrong because murder is wrong is a deontological statement. Whereas murder is wrong because it hurts people is a consequentialist stance. Deontological stances are things are morally good or bad actions because they are, right? They just are. They like if something is a deontological moral stance is one like it's just moral. And yeah, you kind of have to mention consequentialism because in the present tense, consequentialism is the primary competitor to deontology. I mean, you can. It just is weird. Yeah, deontological statements imply an inherent and objective morality. This is true. This is true. Xanadu. That is true. That's what they rely on, right? That deontological stances kind of start from a stance that individual actions have individual moral quality in an absolute and objective sense. Not even necessarily objective, actually, but they do imply that there is some sort of like stance on morality. Yeah, not necessarily Zone Kami. Not necessarily. Deontological stances are they're too abstract to worry about human versus non-human. They're too abstract for that. They do require that you have to have choice over your actions, but that's kind of true at a deeper ethical level. And Xanadu, I guess it's kind of worth saying that people who are deontologists tend to be determinists because the emotional things that make deontology and determinism appealing to a person tend to be the same things. It tends to be the same kind of emotional, pre-rational base. And I am neither of those things, right? I am neither a determinist nor am I a deontologist. I prefer consequentialism as an ethical framework, and I am not a determinist in general. I think the world's very chaotic and very random. It's for the same reasons, right? I find that both of these, they bristle against me emotionally. At a very pre-rational level, it feels unsatisfying to me to turn the world into a series of solvable mathematical questions. Even though there is a lot of math. I kind of think a lot of the questions about right and wrong are too complicated to be approached from that stance. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Xanadu, I'm more of a depressive person. I just think the universe is non-deterministic, and we might not have agency, but we definitely don't have determinism. I think it's the universe is just very chaotic, which is an unsatisfying answer for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. Some of them good, some of them bad. Both the people and the reasons. We're going to spin. We're going to spin so that we can get the sock puppet in a better framing. So it hurts my wrist less. I voted for Krang. I voted for Kodo. I voted for Krang, so don't blame me. But yeah, that's I don't know if I would say that glad to be here, but it does. I understand where people are coming from when they say that Kant was trying to make a scientific methodology for ethics, because Kant was trying to make a rational, deterministic, scientific stance for everything, right? Like, he wanted the entire universe to be this kind of rational, beautiful machine. I'm gonna refocus. Yes, there we go. Now I'm in good focus. He wanted the universe to be this and this is like an emotional stance. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think he did. I think he did. I think he failed because I am not convinced, right? I am not convinced. My preferred ethical tools are I prefer rules utilitarianism, personally. I do want to be clear here, you're allowed to disagree with me, in case anybody's like at all confused about this. There are things that I am describing here that are just like pretty uncomplicated interpretations of what other people wrote, and those should be understood as pretty thorough statements. And then there are things that I am explaining that are like my personal feelings and emotions, right? Like, personally, whether you believe the universe is deterministic or not is less a scientific question and more an emotional question. And emotionally, it doesn't feel likely to me, right? Emotionally, it doesn't feel right to me. Because, from our observations, the universe is totally very non-deterministic. And then there's a lot of people who place a lot of emotional stake that we will just eventually uncover the level at which the universe becomes fully deterministic. Hello, Nagi! It's the snake. Happy Year of the Snake to everybody. This is the snake in question. When people say it's the Year of the Snake, they are talking about this one. This is the snake in question. Yeah. And hello, Raven Dramatic. a threshold deontologist. But yeah, we were not mostly discussing ethics here, to be honest. I'm kind of giving like the 2-second crash course on ethics. Almost returned to life. Excellent. The snake that slumbers. The snake that slumbers and builds and grows. A snake that slumbers and builds and grows. Yeah, we all love the snake around here. Nagi, Nagi's a friend. Nagi's a good friend. Rules I can understand that. Glad to be here. I am less versed in this particular topic. I'm certainly less prepared. Survive the test phases, but no magical potions. Understood. I need to catch up with you on that. I need to understand. Borax Sniffer kind of hits where I kind of land about the categorical imperative, which is that it's just massively difficult to actually execute on. It's enormously difficult to execute on, and if in order to use the categorical imperative in practice, you have to spend you would kind of need a supercomputer the size of the universe. Nagi was not here. EG just left. It was me and EG were here. And EG has been having EG the mushroom, the tiny little 3D mushroom. You know them, right? EG was here, and they had been having a crisis over epistemology and ontology, and so this is the bot is lying. Ads are not incoming. And so me and them they and I, there we go, that's how grammar works. They and I had a conversation doing a kind of quick rundown of basic Enlightenment epistemology and talking about the kind of consequences this has on life. Because this is actually really useful to me and EG in particular, because me and EG are actually both pretty gullible people. me and EG are not making it in Among Us. We are not Among Us pros. We are not surviving. So we need additional help. And so having some understanding of what Kant and Hume and Nietzsche and Descartes and Spinoza think knowledge is actually a useful tool for us to understand things. Is actually pretty useful for us. So EG had to go have dinner with their jubby, and so I'm doing a little bit of follow through for a little bit and answering some additional questions, doing a little bit of extra QA with people, and having a nice little chat with some folks. But yeah, this was about philosophy. We were doing a big philosophy chat, and yeah, I think glad to be here that Kant has a vision of the universe that is emotionally satisfying to him. And it is a vision of the universe that is the key of German Enlightenment, right? The big thing of German Enlightenment, which is that the entire universe is a series of rules, and these rules can be comprehended. Everything in the universe can be broken down to a series of comprehensible rules, and these comprehensible, simple rules, everything spins out from these, and these rules are going to be predictable and deterministic and universalizable. That the entire world is going to be one big, beautiful clock. Everything is going to be one big, beautiful clock. And everything he's doing in philosophy is trying to create that. He is trying to make knowledge such that there's one big, beautiful clock. He's trying to make ethics such that there's one big, giant, beautiful clock. He is trying to understand races such that there's one big, giant, beautiful clock. There's all the gears, right? There's it's mechanistic. It's much more mechanistic than a sundial. It's not just perceiving the universe, it's the mechanisms. The snake of ancient epistemology. I don't know as much about ancient epistemology. My ancient philosophy that I've studied is much more Eastern. So I've read Zhuangzi, and and Lao Tzu and Konfutse and Shunzi and stuff like that. Recently reread Mengzi, which is a fun read. Mengzi does not care about epistemology. Mengzi has no opinions on epistemology whatsoever. He is a total naive on epistemology. Because Mengzi is writing entirely political philosophy, right? He's writing entirely political philosophy and some ethics. Like, he's just writing ethics and political philosophy, arguably some metaphysics, but he's just not concerned with epistemology as a concern. Well, I mean, glad to be here. This is like the thing that people have tried to create. They've tried to create an ethical science. So far, they have not succeeded in doing so in a way that people found particularly compelling. So far, it has not gone super great for them. So far, it's not gone super great for them. Oh, Naomi Nan, thank you for the follow. Yeah, hold on. Glad to be here's got some thoughts. Glad to be here has some thoughts. Yeah, Hume's guillotine. Yeah. I tend to think Hume is a pretty... Well, no, not even that. Not even that. This is more basic than that. Oh yeah. That's what Kant. That's what made Kant so. That's what he got inspired by. Kant was inspired by Hume's guillotine. By Hume being like. We touched on Hume. We didn't get super deep into it, even as much as like Hume. Hume, again, this is kind of where this chart comes from over here, right? That Hume is kind of operating on this belief that if you can't perceive things, if you can't describe things, then they don't matter, right? Then they're not his problem. They're not real. He doesn't give a shit. He does not give no craps. And so, God, I really should not have done this in MS Paint, right? Doing this in Paint was such a bad idea. Yeah, if I can't see it, it isn't real, right? I have no experiences that tell me anything about God, therefore God isn't real. Yep, Borax Sniffer and Zonkami have it correct. And of course, for people who are not familiar with Nagi, they should probably understand that when Nagi says, if I can't see it, it isn't real, she is not making the argument that if a person can't see it, it isn't real. Nagi is making the argument that if Nagi herself specifically cannot see it, it isn't real. So that's but yeah, so Hume does mean everyone. Hume means everyone, Nagi does not. Hume means everyone, Nagi does not. These are differences between different people. Again, this is why I think it's important to keep track of the fact that different people are speaking on different topics, kind of rapid fire. Ads are snoozed. But yeah, oh, Nagi's got to know Stirner. Well, Stirner's funny. Stirner's funny. I have not read very much Stirner. I need to read more Stirner. Stirner's funny. Stirner's like really high on my list of like people who I refer to more often than Yeah. So glad to be here. It's again, there's like harder and softer levels of skepticism and realism, and like really hard realism is really rough. No. So Hume is not a solipsist, but he's also not really concerned with testimony in general. Hume argues that we can understand the experiences around us and the experiences we have and our sense experiences, and then we can use our sense experiences to create relations of ideas. But we cannot transcend those, and we cannot have relations of ideas of things that we don't have experiences, is the real problem, right? That's where we run into a real problem. And for religion, this just becomes a problem of if he has no experience of God and he doesn't believe anybody, then it doesn't, if he doesn't believe any of the people who claim that they've had revelations of God, then it's not part of something that he can critique or understand. Hello, HB Fan 08, and thank you for the follow. Maybe I know inhume is a verb. Inhume is also a verb. Inhume is when you bury somebody. So, like, here's a common sentence from anthropology. This society practices inhumation. That means that they bury their dead. That means that they bury their dead. So that's a real word. But I don't know if just hume is a word. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if just you can just hume things. That one I'm less confident about. Yeah, 6 feet deep. Well, kind of. I mean, I don't think they actually had a back and forth. I don't think that Hume and Kant had a back and forth. But he Kant. It's more that Kant did have proofs. I just personally do not find Kant's proofs compelling. I find them very weak. I find them weak water. And actually, Babinka Bear reminded me of a really cool set of phrases. Inchoate is a this is a sort of place where this happens. Inchoate is a word in the legal profession for like an incoherent argument. Like the argument is inchoate means like it doesn't fit, it doesn't work. And coate is the antonym of that. Coate means that like, oh, this is perfectly coherent. This is a cromulent use of this legal argument. The thing though is that inchoate actually comes from inkos. It's not in as coate is not a word that is being modified by in. Inkos is the root. Inkos is the word, and then ate is the modifier on it. And then so coate is an invention of English, rather than from the Latin, which I think is neat. I always like when that happens. And if people don't know, cromulent is a very cromulent word that comes from The Simpsons. I love cromulent. It's a very good word. It's very, very useful. Just like Ukraine, I do not understand. But yeah, yeah. So I, yeah, post hoc prefix. Yeah, the post hoc prefix. Yeah, the post hoc prefix is cool. It was not a prefix before, but it became a prefix because we're in English and we use in and un as prefixes. We use in and un as prefixes all the time. So yeah, as mentioned, hume may not really be a thing. It is interesting that we have inhume and exhume. Inhume for like to bury somebody, exhume to take somebody out of a burial. Yes. Can I give examples for all of these square outcomes? Yes. So, I've actually kind of written them down. So relations of ideas. So an analytic a priori truth would be something like almost any mathematical. Almost any mathematical proof is going to be an analytic a priori truth. It is when something is just its own definition, which is ideally a strong, robust mathematical proof is basically just demonstrating that your conclusion is contained inside of your definitions. All men are bachelors is one that not all men are bachelors. All single men are bachelors. All single men are bachelors is like yes, a bachelor is a single man, so all single men are bachelors, or all bachelors are single men might be a better way to put it. A widower, yeah, a widower has a that should go through. Discord. I don't know. That's interesting. A widower at one point had a wife would also be an a priori analytic truth, right? If you meet somebody who is a widower, that tells you that they had a wife at some point, or I guess a husband. That tells you that they were married to somebody at some point. A posteriori, No, it's not. Yeah, that's correct. Glad to be here. Philosophical claims are generally a priori analytic. Science is not the only form of knowledge. A posteriori synthetic claims are things like scientific knowledge. we did an experiment, and we found that the coefficient of expansion for this metal was X. We did this experiment, and we found that the lunar regolith is composed of these elements. We did this experiment, and flies develop mutations at this rate over time. Yeah. You don't need an experiment for The Bachelor. Correct. It is because they are defined in a way where that's true. So a priori analytic truths are, in general, considered to be uninteresting. That's the reason why this distinction matters so much. A priori analytic truths tend to be things that are kind of, they're self-contained. They're generally considered not super interesting because they're like, again, you're just kind of demonstrating the definition. Correct. A priori synthetic is what Kant is trying to argue that higher mathematical truths are, and that all metaphysics is. Metaphysics are a priori synthetic. They are true without evidence, but they are... I'm not going to check the news while I'm streaming. They are true without evidence, and they are... but they are more than the sum of their parts. They're true without, like, external evidence. So this is, like, a complicated and difficult territory. And then a posteriori analytic truths are this extremely goofy world where again, I've only got the one example off the top of my head. Because they are things that are simultaneously boring, but you also needed to check. HB Fen, did the Discord link not go through? I don't know why it's not letting you do the Discord command. You should be able to do the Discord command, but there's the Discord link. It's also in my about. May as well drop the socials while I'm thinking about it. So the, yeah, I'm actually also not doing that right now. So the a posteriori analytic truths, the only one that I can name off the top of my head, because again, this is a stupid category, is the case of Venus, where, glad to be here, I don't believe in it. You're talking to a person who doesn't believe in it. Like, you are talking to a person who thinks that it doesn't work. Kant thinks that it does. I talked about some of Kant's proofs, and that's why me and EG both went out of our way to say that we don't find it very compelling. Because some people do find it compelled. Some people do find it compelling. Some people do think that it's interesting and meaningful and useful. I don't. I don't think that 7 + 5 = 12 demonstrates anything. I don't think that demonstrates jack. I think that is functionally stupid. And I just disagree with him. Not entirely, I don't think all metaphysics is intrinsically a joke, but I don't think it has the weight and utility and use case that Kant wants it to have. I think that there's something to be said for, I messed up things up there. There we go. I think that there's something to be said for, like, discussing. I think it's definitely a lesser form of not. I think it's a much lesser, to be honest. But you're talking to a skeptic. You're talking to a person who's a skeptical empiricist. Like, I have a stance as a skeptical empiricist. It is not the only stance in the universe. I think I'm right, obviously, but people disagree with me, and I can't necessarily defeat them in the arena. Again, like, the one that Kant invokes in Critique of Pure Reason is 7 + 5 = 12. That 7 and 5 do not contain 12. The 12 contains 7 and 5, but 7 and 5 do not contain 12. I think this is bad math. Kant thinks this is demonstrates something. I think it doesn't. This is where we run into a disagreement. that yeah, that's yeah, and also I'm not a mathematician. We are getting into follow-up questions that I am not, like, I know a little bit of math, like I can kind of do a little bit of topology. Thank you, HB fan. I like my Discord. We do a lot of movie nights. We do sometimes play rivals. Mostly we share art. It's a nice Discord. I like it. It's very active. And yeah, again, glad to be here. I'm not well, okay, so the trouble here is I agree, right? That's the trouble here. I agree, and I don't think I am necessarily being the kindest to Kant. It might make sense for me at some point to bring on somebody who does like Kant a lot to argue why the critique of pure reason is more interesting than how I've presented it, because it's very possible to do. I am, well, not just a math guy. I think you need to check out Kant himself, unfortunately, which sucks because Kant is one of the worst writers in all of human history. You know, he's dreadful. He's absolutely dreadful. But yeah, so I will say I think it's about time for me to wrap up because I have work. I have a day job to get to. I'm glad that I took the moment to talk with people a little bit longer, but no, you're not. You're fine. You didn't do anything wrong. These are I did a subathon in the fall. I have actually done 3 more things that are on here. I have done the bad fiction, the spicy ramen, and the knitting streams have already been done. We're probably going to go back and redo the knitting stream again because I learned how to knit. I did not learn how to purl. That's I'm glad you enjoyed listening. I might have to do a better explainer because the main point of this, right? The main point of this was to help EG deal with their emotional crisis over the question of how do you know things. This was not the most educational lecture, but I'm glad I did it. The Dark Souls stream is coming. The Dark Souls stream cometh. If you want to see how I am the worst Dark Souls player. I am the worst Dark Souls player. I'm going to post the first one. Yeah, we all are, but him more than others. This is my first. I've done 2 of the 3. 2 more streams have been posted to my VOD channel. Xanadu, you Xanadu, you're not prepared. You're not prepared at all. Nagi can tell you how bad it gets. Nagi was there. Nagi witnessed. Nagi was there. I am the worst Dark Souls player, but I will be returning to Dark Souls at the end of the month. I will be returning to Dark Souls. He's not normal. I am in fact built different. Zone Kami, thank you for the follow. I'm just giving that as a heads up. Zandu, you're not prepared. You are not prepared. You are. When I say I am the worst Dark Souls player, I'm not the person who said that. Other people have said that about me. People who have watched a lot of Dark Souls have said that I am the worst Dark Souls player. I'm just very bad at games. I'm just very bad at games. I'm just not a pro gamer. And on Friday, I am... No, I don't. Zone Kami, I don't know anything about Dark Souls. I managed to get to 2024 without knowing what genre Dark Souls was. I am a blind player. We need to preserve this. This is why this is valuable. It's not because it's valuable to watch an old man be bad at a video game. It's because there are so few people left on the planet who are still blind on Dark Souls. I need everything but a coach. Beating the game is secondary to it being a blind experience. Yes, Xanadu, I understand the rareness of what I have, and I am not going to squander it. Yeah, but I don't know anything about it either. Yeah, we have to protect the innocents. My mods only exist to ban people who give me Dark Souls spoilers. That's the only reason why I have mods. I gotta get out of here soon. Tomorrow I am going to be painting minis. And since you're here, Nagi, if you want to join me and yell at me, you're welcome to. Matthew, same thing. People who are better than me at mini painting. I'm not a terrible mini painter, but I'm not a great mini painter. I have Roman legionnaires. I have 100 Roman legionnaires that somebody bought off of my throne, which is why I disabled models on my throne. I do also have the conquest ones. I will be working on the conquest ones as well. I've got necromantic, I've got undead Roman legionaries and regular Roman legionaries. I will probably continue working on the undead ones. Conquest has such cool models. I like the conquest models a lot. So I'll probably continue with the conquest models. I paint about 1 mini per stream. Not old sound. HB fan, the trick is to not smoke. If you don't smoke, people will be off on your age by like a lot. Like they'll be off on your age by a lot. Don't smoke. I don't smoke. I do run. I'm vegan, and I was also very genetically lucky. I'm also very genetically lucky. My father went gray when he was 70. I am very genetically lucky. And then for Saturday, I was thinking about doing 1000 X Resist, which is amazing. 1000 X Resist is an amazing game, but I'm probably going to do Monster Hunter Wilds beta. If she can make it, Bug VT will be joining me. If not, I don't know. But Bug is hoping to join me. She's just kind of busy on Saturdays. That is the stream. Let's do one last shout out for the Discord and one last shout out for the socials. I am most active on Blue Sky. Oh yeah, no, my dad had black hair. Like, my dad looks fully 20 to 30 years younger than my mom. Like, he has aged insanely well. He has I seem to be getting that. My brothers are all gray and I'm not, so I'm just counting my blessings here. We are going to go raid out to a really good friend of mine. We're going to raid out to a really good friend of mine who is doing a special events. We are going to be raiding out to my friend Alex Azorashi. And let's see, what raid message do we want? Stress. And if you don't have subs, where I need to do it here. So if you are not subbed, that's the raid message. And that shouldn't be a bits emote. I'll go crazy if that's a bits emote. Tier 1 sub emote. Okay. Excellent. Stress is a tier 1. But yes, Alex is a dear friend of mine. I've collabed with her like a dozen times. She's doing a special announcement stream, so let's see what that is. I'm curious as to what her announcement is. Thank you all for being here, and have a lovely day. Also, hello, Obsessed Streamer.